public comment because we're at 6:30. So at this time, I understand, Ms. Alpert. All right, at this time, I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. If the city clerk can please call the roll.
Commissioner Villa-Vasquez? Present. Commissioner Burbank? Commissioner Caldwell?
Here.
Commissioner Jody Lee? Here. Commissioner McCool?
Here.
Vice Mayor Bradford?
Here.
Mayor Villa?
Here. This time, I am going to ask Commissioner Villa-Vasquez to present the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Mayor. So I would like to call on our own Deltona Fire Department Chaplain Anthony Alvarez to please come up and do the invocation for us. And then after that, I would invite our Commissioner and veteran, Tom Burbank, to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
Let us pray. Most gracious and Heavenly Father, we come before your presence tonight, Father. Father, hear the voices this evening, Father God, and everything that they have to say, Lord. But bring peace into this house, Lord God, that we may have the answers to these people for the things that they need to talk about. Father, bless the commissioners, the mayor, the vice mayor, Father God, and everybody on that panel, Father. In Jesus' mighty name, I pray, Father God, for a resolve tonight for every person that's in this building tonight, Father. Let no man, no woman go home grieving or upset, Father God, but to be at least, Father God, at peace with themselves, knowing that the mayor and the vice mayor and all the members of this commission, Father God, will speak with them or help them or send them letters to resolve the problems that they have, Father God. I obviously see there's a need, Father, so do you, Lord. But I ask you in Jesus' name, Father, to let this come to a closing with peace and understanding. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to hear a motion and a second for approval of minutes and agenda. So moved by Commissioner Tom Burbank and seconded by Vice Mayor Bradford. Please vote. Motion passes 7-0. This time, we're going to go to presentation, awards, and reports. We have a proclamation for Parks and Recs for the month of July, so if the commission can meet me on the floor, we're going to present it and give it to the city clerk so Mark can accept it at a later date.
This is the proclamation, City of Deltona. Whereas, since 1985, America celebrated July as the nation's official Parks and Recs Month, and the United States House of Representatives officially mandated July as Parks and Recreation Month in 2009. And whereas Parks and Recreation promotes physical, emotional, and mental health and wellness through organized and self-directed fitness, play, activity, and whereas Parks and Recreation facilities foster social cohesiveness in communities by celebrating diversity, providing spaces to come together peacefully, promoting social equity, ensuring people of all ages have access to its benefits, and whereas the Parks and Recreation Service amplifies a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, boosting tourism, attraction and retention of business, and crime reduction, and whereas we observe July as Parks and Recreation Month, the City of Deltona supports the skilled work of parks and recreation professionals who help to strengthen the community and connect people with nature and each other, and provide opportunities for healthful living and environmental sustainability. Now, therefore, we, the Mayor and City Commissioners of Deltona, Florida, do hereby proclaim the month of July 2023 as Parks and Recreation Month, executed this 17th day of July 2023.
This time, we're going to go into presentation quarterly reports by city advisory boards and committees. Joyce or Liz?
These are reports from the boards. They're read-only. That's it.
Okay. So we're going to move over to ordinances and public hearing. Public hearing resolution number 2313, establishing the proposed millage rate for levy of ad valorem taxes for fiscal year 2023-2024. Mary?
Resolution 2313 establishes the proposed millage rate for the levy of ad valorem taxes for fiscal year 2024. The city manager is proposing a millage rate of 7.35 mils, which is reduced from the rate levied in fiscal year 2023. This reflects an increase of 8.86 from the rollback rate of 6.7519 mils. Staff proposes the commission adopt a proposed millage rate of 7.35 mils for fiscal year 23-24. Attached is the resolution establishing a proposed millage rate. The adopted rate will be communicated to the property appraiser and used in the notice of proposed taxes, the trim notice, issued to Deltona property owners in late August. If the commission votes to approve a higher millage rate at the hearing in September, the city is required to send out revised trim notices to the property appraiser, and that would be at the residence of expense. Just to remind you, our current millage rate for fiscal 23 is 7.65, so this is a reduction of 0.3 mils for fiscal year 2024.
Do we have any questions from the commission up here before we go into a motion? Okay, we have Commissioner Jody Lee, Vice Mayor Bradford, and then Commissioner McCool.
So basically, the millage rate is going down, so it's going to be a tax decrease for the city.
The millage rate is based on the assessed value of your home, which is determined by the Volusia County property appraiser.
Right.
So it depends on the value of your home and the amount of exemptions that you have. So I'm reluctant to say it's going to reduce everybody's taxes because it depends on your individual situation, whether there's a number of folks that have different, in addition to their homestead, they have a number of different exemptions offered by the property appraiser. So the reduction in millage rate will be less than you would have paid if we would have kept at 7.65. So it is a reduction. But how much, I can't really
Right.
say.
Every
There's
house
too
is
many
different.
variables, absolutely.
Right, every house is different, but I'm just saying, so if you overall have your house, nothing's changed for your deductions, they're the same
Right.
as the year before, with this millage rate, you're going to pay, if the excess
If-
value didn't go up,
There you go.
you're going to pay less city taxes, not county fees, school board, anything. It's going to be less money to the city.
Right, this is only for the city of Deltona's millage rate, not for the school board, not for the county. And you're right, if everything stayed the same, your taxes would be less.
Okay, I just wanted to make people clear that with all this stuff and talk, it's been confusing because
It
we had the
is.
hotline set up for different assessment fees, everything else. People have been
Now,
confused.
this is different than the
I understand.
assessment. Okay,
No, this is different than them, but I'm just,
Correct.
because it's been a lot of confusing the last few days.
right.
But this is actually going to, if your things all remain the same and your property value didn't skyrocket, your taxes are actually going to go down in the
Right.
city.
Right, the city manager is proposing a smaller millage rate.
Thank you.
So, you're welcome.
Vice Mayor Bradford?
I just want to clarify as well, because it was brought up that the budget has not been discussed. The city manager has met with each one of us individually, and then July 13th, we also had a budget meeting as well, where we went over each one of these line items. So we have talked about it. It has been done. Did we save last year? I think we spent 28 hours on this dais going over budget, which didn't work very well. So and it's a lot of time. So I actually felt the budget process went really well. We were able to give our input. We were able to speak with him. What's this? What's that? Get all of our questions out, so we're not up here asking questions and everybody's sitting out there with like deer in the headlights, because it's a lot. So it was actually great to be able to sit down, go over it, sit with staff, because it wasn't just him. We had to have, so it was great. I just want to say that, I do appreciate the time you guys took by individually working with us and getting it. I know as far as what I had, you guys took everything that I said to heart, and you either gave me an answer then or came back with an answer, so thank you.
I'd just like to add, Commissioner Bradford, when you vote on the millage rate tonight, this is an important step in the budget preparation, because we need this millage rate to go forward and estimate the revenues that we're going to receive. So we can't really proceed with the budget until we have a millage rate set by the commission.
I move to adopt resolution number 2023-13. The city manager has the authority to correct Scrivener errors and the like.
Second.
We got a motion by Vice Mayor Bradford and a second by Commissioner Villa-Vasquez. Commissioner McCool?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And my note was, as a reminder, that we are having a budget workshop from 5:30 to 7:30 on the 24th here in Chambers. And please note, whether you're my constituent or live outside of my district, that, as has been stated before, we each had individual meetings with the city manager. We've also met with the finance department and have done research regarding the needs for the city. I would like to remind everybody this also, that we support and nurture our community with the tax dollars that you entrust us with. And in a city of 97,000 residents and 37,000 homes, I believe is what the last count was, the equal distribution is a complex formula in which we try to distribute liability and wealth equally. And it is known that in this city, here's the thing, we have a total of 42,443 parcels in the city of Deltona. With that being said, we have 5,280, or 12.44%, of our city that pay zero taxes. And let me be heard clearly on this matter. Whoever has these exceptions deserve it through their sacrifice, whatever they did for our country, or whatever befell them, that they are entitled to this. This is not into question. This is honoring people who took care of us. Make that well known. So this is nothing towards that. This is a matter of you understanding the data and how these are calculated. Number two, we have 16,517 parcels, or 38.92% of our city, that pays 1 cent to $500 per year in taxes. Again, please understand this, that these are deserved tax breaks, these are deserved homestead exemptions, whatever they are deserved. This is being stated for matter of data only. Number three, paying greater than $500, 20,646, or 48.64% of our community of almost 100,000, that's what's being paid on that. So you have 48.64 paying a full value or up $500 or greater. When you take into account all of that revenue, we did the numbers, and there is quite a substantial amount of revenue that is not being captured simply because people are entitled to the breaks that they have, and that's how our residential community is structured. So when we're collecting this tax base, we are collecting and using the money wisely. I don't want it to be said, I hear there can be cuts here and there. Everybody can do that. But for the most part, we are trying to be good stewards of your tax dollars. With that being said, also, it's going to be brought up in here as far as stormwater, these assessments, which has been quite confusing, and solid waste or your garbage, and it's going to be explained. In order to try to balance the equity between everyone fairly, we are coming down and proposing this millage rate so that we can balance, so that everybody, and I hate to say this, kind of feels the pain, and there's not one specific group of residents that are paying the largest amount. So that's what we're trying to do, and that's how this is formulated. So I want my constituency to understand that, because I vote yes, I am voting yes on this proposed millage rate because of these reasons. We need this budget to work with. We had an awful year last year, and we have a lot of things coming up. So thank you for letting me clarify that, Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Avila Vasquez, then I'm going to speak, then we'll move to public comment.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, Commissioner McCool, for giving that explanation. And I also want to explain that not everyone's taxes are the same, as it was mentioned by Marie and Commissioner Jody. Because what happens here is the millage rate that we approved tonight, that is taken by the tax appraiser, and they multiply the value of your home. So if your home is worth $100,000, or it's going to be less than somebody's home who is valued at $300,000. So this is how the tax appraiser comes up with your taxes. This is not done by the city. We just approved the millage rate, and they use that percentage. So nobody's homes is going to be the same. Nobody's taxes are going to be the same. If you had your home for the longest, your house is paid off, then that's how much tax you're going to pay. If you just bought a house, and we know that the market is very high right now, and you pay $300,000 or more, your taxes are going to be very high, because that $400,000 is what the tax appraiser is going to multiply your taxes for. So again, I know a lot of people have called me, and I have explained this to them. They don't accept the explanation, but we have no other explanation but this to give you. It's all based on what the tax appraiser comes up with. The value of your home multiplied by the millage equals your taxes. Thank you, Mayor.
The only comment that I have regarding this specific process would be that I enjoyed the fact that we spoke individually with you, or you spoke and Finance did individually with this commissioner. The only thing I would have done differently is meet with every commissioner individually, as was done, have at least 2 budget workshops, and then meet one final time with the commissioners individually. That way we could have been able to get some answers to some of the questions that maybe our constituents had, and then we could have moved forward to voting for this. So that's my only this only issue that I've had with this process as of right now, is that I wish we would have, somewhere between the first time we met and today, we would have at least had a minimum of 2 budget workshops. So can we proceed with public comment, please?
Elbert Bryan, Lindsey Briones, former Commissioner David Sosa, and Kathy Bryan. Elbert Bryan, please.
Albert Bryan, Deltona. You know, y'all can put lipstick on a pig as much as y'all want, it's still a pig. It really is. Let's think about this for just a minute, especially what was said here. Because when you take and get your tax bill, it's all divided up for you. But at the end of the bill, it's still a tax bill. So, that being said, when you raise the assessments as much as you're raising them, and don't lower your taxes the way you are, actual people who have invested time in this city are going to actually pay more taxes, not less. So to sit up there and preach to us or lecture to us that this is the way it is, that's the biggest set of crapola I have ever heard in my entire life. Because a tax is a tax is a tax, whether it's an assessment, whether it's a property tax, or otherwise. So don't preach to me about taxes going down and or otherwise. Because at the end of the day, taxes are going up. It's that simple. Because the revenue coming in is still a tax to these people. Period, full stop. Y'all may not even want to recognize it as that, but that's okay. I get it. Not enough of y'all have any experience, and some of y'all got your head stuck so far in the ground that you can't hear anybody speaking. So, when y'all take a look at this tonight, without a budget being publicized at all, and this is the first time in 8 years I've made it to the middle of July without a prelim budget in my hand. 8 years without a preliminary budget in my hand. So if you're going to take and actually pass this millage without a budget, and it's okay for y'all to take and chit-chat with them, but you're not serving your constituents worth of crap, because we don't have anything to look at to say that your millage rate is what it actually should be, or should it be higher, or should it be lower. We have nothing. To say there's transparency in the city is also the biggest pile of crapola I have ever heard in my entire life. There's no transparency inside this city at all anymore. None whatsoever. When I have to do 4 to 5 PRs to get one answer, there's a problem there, people. There is a real serious problem there. When we have a manager that in his contract states he wants all the liability to fall back on you no matter what he says, no matter how negligent he is, there is a problem there, people. You know what an astronaut says when he has a problem? Houston, we have a problem. Well, Deltona, we have a problem. Because if you take and put this millage rate forward tonight, I don't care how many meetings you've had and or otherwise, if you do not have a budget in your hand tonight, you are not serving the people at all. At all. You're serving him is who you're serving. Is that what you want to be known at? As a slave to that manager? Because you know what? George Washington and the founding fathers fought so we would not be taxed without any say. And yet, here we are tonight, being taxed without any say.
Lindsey Briones, please.
Hi again. So as I was talking about earlier, our homeowners insurance has gone up from $3,000 a year to $10,000. Our house is about $280. That's what it's worth now. I'm worried that between the car insurance going up from about $300 a month to now $700 a month for 3 vehicles, no accidents, no tickets, nothing of that nature, but because of the type of car that we have, which is a Kia, and they're all being stolen left and right here in the city of Deltona and across the country, it's just one more added bill that we can't afford. We have a disabled daughter who is autistic, and she has some other significant health issues. I have a defibrillator in my chest. Just my one medication alone cost me almost $1,700 a month so I can live. To have the device placed in my chest was $350,000. I have to get that changed every 7 to 12 years. My husband served in Iraq and Afghanistan. Like I said, he's 100% disabled permanently and total from the VA. My husband, who should not be working, is working 2 jobs. He's gone from the house at 2:30 in the morning to 8 o'clock at night, Wednesday through Monday morning. I see my husband maybe 10 hours a week. I'm working from 6:30 in the morning until 7 o'clock at night. I have 2 jobs as well. On the weekends, I am taking care of my 89-year-old grandmother who just had a stroke. I have no life. I also run a Facebook group, which, again, a lot of you guys know me, and that group almost has 20,000 members in it. I get a lot of people in my inbox telling me that they are concerned that they're not going to be able to afford their medication on top of all these added bills, on top of taxes, on top of groceries. We have lines up around in my neighborhood for a church for drive-through grocery pickup. I understand the city is struggling. I understand that we got walloped really bad last year. My only concern is what's going to happen to the elderly and the disabled who own houses, who are struggling as it is. How are they going to afford increased taxes from their millage rate or decreased taxes with the millage rate? Because some of us are going to get really high taxes and some of us are not. I have a feeling I'm going to be one of the ones that are going to get increased because my house is almost worth $300,000. I understand your position. I understand that. I just want you guys to understand our position too. Because there's a lot of young families out here. There's a lot of older families out here too that are homeowners. There's a lot of people who are renting. And the renters are going to pass that, the homeowners are going to pass that on to the renters to increase their rent too. So it's a domino effect of what's going on. A 3-bedroom house out here is now going for like $1,700, where just 6 years ago it was going for $900. So this whole thing is going to have a domino effect, and it's going to affect everybody in some form or fashion. That's my only concern. I understand you're going to do what you're going to do, and I respect that, even if I don't agree. I respect you for that. You can't please everybody. So thank you for listening to me, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Former Commissioner David Sosa, please.
David Sosa. A couple quick questions to start. When was the preliminary budget presented to you? 2, where's the more detailed version, and when was it presented to you? And is that available for the public to view online? Because I cannot find it on the website. So once again, transparency, it's gone. There is none. Okay? So if you could find out where that is out there and share it, I would love to go and view it. Jody, you keep saying just because the millage rate is going down, that decreases taxes. That is not true. Okay? The millage rate, unless you go to full rollback of 6.751, that would keep your taxes the same. When you increase that millage rate, that's an increase in your tax. Now, a lot of residents are under Save Your Home, so they only get a 3% increase. So for somebody like this lady that has a $300,000 house, her taxable value went from $300,000 to $309,000. So your millage rate may have come down 0.3 mils, not 3 mils, 0.3 mils, but her tax is being assessed at a higher value. So her taxes may go up. You've already increased 40% between the stormwater, 25% there, 15% between solid waste. Those are all tax increases. So even though you lower the mill rate 0.3, you're going to see a significant increase in taxes. Okay, Albert said it right. You know, I don't think some of you guys have a concept of how taxes work. So it was also stated in the city manager's planning meeting, which turns out now to be a budget workshop. I mean, I think that was falsely advertised. that there was no equipment purchased over the last few years. Maritza, Anita, Dana, I know for a fact you guys have purchased extra equipment. We've all purchased it when I was up there too. Purchased a new fire truck last year, purchased new transport, purchased all kinds of equipment for public works. So to magically say we're getting new equipment that's never been there is false. Okay? Next. In that city manager's meeting, he stated that we need to have more staff, so we're going to grow government again, but there was no detail where we're going to add that staff. How much is that staff going to cost us? Now, I can tell you from looking at previous year's budgets that what you collect in ad valorem taxes basically covers law enforcement and fire department. That's it. They cover emergency services. So this is where I have a problem, because you guys have seen it, supposedly. You've discussed it. We have no idea what we're paying for. It's our tax money. One other issue I had a problem with. The city manager said we are the largest corporation in Deltona. He is absolutely right. The city, it's not here for you and I. It is a corporation, and the number one goal of a corporation is to do what? Make money. So they're making money off of you. And it's true. We do have people in need, because we have Miss Lisa Chavez right here who does a food drive at least once a month, and there's hundreds of people lining up to get food. But yet we're going to look to increase taxes. And I have a question. How are we setting the millage rate tonight without any meetings? And don't we have to vote on this trim notice twice for the resolution before it can be passed? And it's due to Larry Bartlett's office soon.
Thank you, sir. Kathy Bryan, please.
Good evening, Kathy Bryan. During public forum, there was a back and forth from the dais about how we weren't going to let social media affect what we talk about. I didn't get to speak, but I had to listen to 2 or 3 people give a lecture about how different people pay different taxes. And I don't appreciate it. That's right. You're absolutely right. Different people pay different taxes. People who rent do pay taxes. The landlord, you better believe the landlord passes that along to them. I think I said to you guys last meeting that when you guys considered this millage rate, to take in consideration all the other increases, and while I realize that we've got a lot of bills, you need a millage rate, but you need to do the millage rate with the budget hand in hand, because you need to know how much you're going to need before you set the rate. And you're going to know how much rate you're going to be able to set from a maximum cap % before you figure out how much you've got for your budget. And like everybody else has said, you guys met with the city manager, but we didn't. We have no idea. What are you looking at purchasing? And so far as I know, there's definitely things that we need to do infrastructure-wise that are going to cost people less money eventually because their houses quit flooding. But I think there are things everybody can cut their budget. And I'm going to give you an example. The city manager's report. It sits back there. I don't see one tonight. I was going to bring it up here. It's very, very nice. But how much ink does that cost? It could be done cheaper. And that's just a small example. So if you really look at it, or let us look at it, maybe we can figure out ways to trim some of the fat. I realize we got to have taxes. That's how the city gets stuff done. But where is it? So that's pretty much all I got. I also don't, well, actually, I take that back. Having the planning, the manager's planning session, and then having it from 4 to 6, where so few people could attend and it's not clear what it is, was not appreciated either. We want transparency. I know you guys get mad because we come up here and fuss, but we want transparency. That's it.
Ms. Kathy, would you like my report? If we're right back there, you're welcome to have mine.
I look at it online.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, I look at it online. No, I have it on.
Richard Bellick, please.
anybody that's a veteran deserves a tax break. I never disputed that. I asked one commissioner why she pays so little in taxes. Her previous statement to me was her husband was running a business in East New York. So
Mr.
to have
Bellick, we're
somebody
not
throw
going to
it,
be
I
doing
don't
this.
take cheap shots.
Mr. Bellick, we're not doing this.
Okay.
We're not doing this.
Now-
I want to respectfully listen to everything you have to say, but I'm not allowing this. And I don't
Fine,
care who gets upset.
That's fine. I'm not here to argue with you. But anyway, now, anybody thinks houses are going to go down in Deltona is nuts. You can get $150,000 for a pigeon coop in Deltona. There's nobody going to get decreased, right or wrong. He knows it. Anybody with a brain. I mean, we used to up there preaching this nonsense that people are supposed to listen. This is the hottest growing place in the United States. Up houses. For anybody to sit there and tell us your house is going to go down is a lie. It's an out and out lie. It's trickery. It's chicanery. Houses are not going down. Now, you're talking about spending money wisely? How do you spend money wisely? Everybody's suing and everybody's getting a paycheck. Come on. The city manager's going to be here for 1 year. He wants to expand Deltona to Osteen. You know why? You all know why.
Mr. Bellick, that's your second warning.
Okay? He's going to be here 1 year. Okay? So when the 1 year's up, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? We're going to be left here just like with every other city manager. And once again, preaching these lies to the people, you get caught time after time, but it still comes out. See you, Mayor.
Mayor, that closes public comments.
Vice Mayor, you had a question?
Actually, no, I was just going to state how, again, the meeting, but one thing that's real important to understand is we're still not at, do we have another speaker?
Yes.
Oh,
My name is Dave Munoz. I was just going through this real quick while I was sitting down. You're downtown. All you have so far is a Starbucks and a Panda Express. How's that a downtown? That's a joke. And you want to give them an additional 30 acres.
sir, are you talking about the tax increase right now?
No.
So we're not discussing anything else but the millage reduction.
Okay.
But fill out a form when that comes up, you can talk about that. Vice Mayor, please.
Everybody remembers back in was it 2006, 2007, the housing market went absolutely gun-ho. 2008, we had a crash. After that crash, because the millage rate did go down, we were still not able to bring to 2023, 2024, we are still not back to where we were before that crash. Taking this down to where we are right now, it's actually a gamble, personally, because last year we went through the same thing. We had a seller's market. Homes were being fought over. They were being made offers of sometimes $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 over the asking price. If we have an auto correction again, guess what happens to taxes next year and the year after? And we're still not recovered from 2008. And we're still trying to get projects done over the last XYZ years. So it's difficult. It is a very tough decision to say, we would all love to go down a lot more, but because we also have to take that in consideration that if the housing market does come down, like if you look at reports right now, you're seeing homes going that are advertised, they're dropping the prices $7,000, $10,000. So housing prices are starting to come down on the new resale side. We have to be cautious of that because I don't know if anybody else is concerned about it, but I do get concerned that could we have another 2008 drop? I don't have a crystal ball, but I do have to be cautious because if we do have a drop, something has to be cut then that next year. And I'm not talking a little bit, you're talking millions and millions of dollars. And those are your projects cut. Those are huge. You know, and I just wanted to say that, Mayor, thank you, because I don't think a lot of people realize, they think we're up, but we're still down from 15-year ago crash.
Thank you. Can we please vote?
Okay, Mayor, the system is down, so, okay.
Is
Verbal
it back
vote?
up?
Commission,
Okay, so we'll go ahead and do a verbal vote.
okay. Commissioner Villa Vasquez.
Yes.
Commissioner Burbank.
Yes.
Commissioner Caldwell.
Yes.
Commissioner Jody Lee.
Yes.
Commissioner McCool.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bradford.
Yes.
Mayor Vila.
Yes.
7-0.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're going to go ahead and move to public hearing resolution number 2322, establishing the annual rate resolution nuisance abatement services for fiscal year 2023 through 2024. Mary?
Okay. This resolution establishes an annual rate resolutions for nuisance abatement services. The nuisance abatement assessment was established in 2018 for the collection of unpaid costs and expenses incurred by the city for nuisance and lot cleanup. This is an effort by the city to recoup the costs associated with the abatement of property for cleanup that is a nuisance and a threat to public health, safety, and welfare. Section 54 of the Code of Ordinances requires the City Commission to adopt an annual rate resolution during the budget process for each fiscal year. The initial proceedings for the adoption of the annual rate resolution require the adoption of a preliminary rate resolution. The attached annual rate resolutions for nuisance abatement services for 2024. The total outstanding unpaid assessments for nuisance abatement services for fiscal 24 is $19,696.64. This is the preliminary rate. The second, the annual rate will be voted on by the Commission on August 7th, along with the other preliminary rates. And in your resolution has the detail regarding the total costs by each property.
Any comments or motions from the commissioners? Vice Mayor Bradford?
I move to adopt resolution number 2023-22. The city manager, should that not be 2023-24? 2023-24, the city manager has the authority to correct Scrivener errors and the like. Is it supposed to be 2023-22?
22.
Okay, so I move to adopt resolution number 2023-22.
I second.
So there's a motion by Vice Mayor Bradford, and the second was from Commissioner Burbank. Oh, Commissioner Caldwell, I had heard him first. Okay. Any public comment, Liz?
Mayor?
All right, can we please do a verbal vote again?
Commissioner Villa Vasquez.
Yes.
Commissioner Burbank.
Yes.
Commissioner Caldwell.
Yes.
Commissioner Jody Lee.
Yes.
Commissioner McCool.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bradford.
Yes.
Mayor Vila.
Yes.
7-0.
This moment, we're going to move forward to a quasi-judicial hearing, which is public hearing ordinance number 04-2023, request to amend the Deltona Village Business Plan Unit Development, Overall Development Plan, Master Development Plan, increasing number of multifamily unit allocation for BPUB from 414 units to 652 units, amendment to the development agreement approved by ordinance number 21-2009, and rezone an additional 0.61 acres of land to be included within Deltona Village BPUB. Mr. Joseph Ruiz.
Good evening, Mayor, City Commissioner, respected members of the public. Joe Ruiz, Planning and Development Services Director. Before I go ahead and get started, Marcia, if you can swear in, please.
Standing in this case, if you receive a notice in the mail, will you please stand and raise your right hand? Do we have anybody who received notice? Can't hear you. That's as loud as I can.
If there's anybody that received notice about this, could you please stand and raise your right hand, if you have standing?
Can I have any consultants, please, that are available? And Joe, would you raise your right hand and swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marshall. Mayor, if you can just panel the commission for ex parte communication.
Commissioner Burbank? Do you,
Ex parte communication, Commissioner.
Mr. DeMar's called me one last week, asked if I had any questions, I replied no. We exchanged pleasantries, that was it.
Commissioner Avila Vasquez?
None.
Commissioner Dana McCool?
Only with the planner, city manager, city attorney, private attorney, and with the deputy city manager. Thank you.
Commissioner Stephen Codwell?
None.
Commissioner Jody Lee?
I spoke to the city manager, Mr. Ruiz, and Ms. Bookerford. That's it, just regular conversation about the project.
Vice Mayor Bradford?
None.
And I just had a conversation with County Councilman David Santiago. That's it.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. So as read into the record, ordinance number 04-2023. Today is the second hearing based on the action that was taken previously, which, just to give a reminder and a recap, was to amend the DA and the overall development plan and master development plan to increase the unit cap for multifamily apartments to 652, to the amendment to the development agreement, and as well as to rezone 0.61 acre of land into the Deltona Village BPUD. At this time, the attachments that are before you, staff went ahead and updated to reflect the changes based on the amendment that was approved. At first hearing, also there were some Scrivener's errors in working with the applicant's engineer to correct on the master development plan. And then the applicant did make me aware on section 7 of the amendment to the development agreement, if the application is adopted and ordinance 04-2023 is adopted, we will update section 7 to note the 0.61 acreage as opposed to the 26.57 that was originally there. At this time, there have been no changes to the application other than those noted to reflect the action and the motion. And so at this time, as was recommended originally, staff's recommendation is for the approval of this, and so the floor is all yours if you have any questions.
Vice Mayor Bradford?
No questions. There was quite an extensive discussion at the last meeting I watched. I hereby move to approve ordinance number 04-2023, approving the amendment to the overall development plan, master development plan, increasing the number of multifamily unit allocation for the BPUD from 414 units to 652 units, amendment to the development agreement approved by ordinance number 21-2009, and rezone an additional 0.61 acre of land to be included with the Deltona Village BPUD.
There's a motion by Vice Mayor Bradford. Second by Commissioner Avila Vasquez. Then Commissioner Avila Vasquez, you're on the board as well, and then Commissioner McCool.
Thank you. Joe, I have a question to ask you. I know that I heard some comments about this property not being able to be used as mixed use property. So I know that there is a few businesses coming up, one being Nutty Bavarian Light Manufacturing, the other one is Panda Express, and the Starbucks. Where is that going to be built?
So the Nutty Bavarian is going to be on the west side of Normandy, North Normandy, on the other side where the Duke substation is essentially. It'll be south of that Duke substation. The Starbucks is the building that's under construction adjacent to Howland that you see still, I think they started finishing up the top paneling adjacent to Burger King. And then the Panda Express, which is under review, would go directly west of the Starbucks site.
So it's in this property?
Yes, it is within the Deltona Village BPUD.
So this property is being used as mixed use of residents and businesses?
It is a business plan unit development. It's not titled or was not, it was not zoned as a mixed plan unit development. However, the list of uses that were approved back in the original development agreement and master development plan did provide a list of uses which included these that you have mentioned, as well as the multifamily units.
And the theater is part of this too, right?
Yes, ma'am. The theater and also the racetrack. The racetrack, gas station, and convenience store. Yeah,
Thank you.
no problem.
Commissioner McCool, then Commissioner Jody Lee.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I would like to go back. I want to talk that first reading, and before first reading, I had expressed my concerns regarding concurrency, which, that has no bearing here because until the Volusia County School Board fixes educational concurrency requirements, that's just going to fall on deaf ears. Second thing that I worried about was the traffic study, because the TIA was done back in 2009, and here we are at 2023. And I am asking if my residents can go back and pay taxes from 2009 instead of 2023. Can we? Can we do that for our residents? Because nowhere else could we do that. And my concerns are that I understand what the development agreement says. I understand what the ordinance says. I understand what the old ordinances say about that, but I also expressed my concerns to TPO. I expressed my concerns to the county chair in a meeting, and I don't mean a meeting one-on-one, but at another meeting, and also my concerns to some of the county council regarding this. I believe that Mr. Ruiz received a letter from the county engineer, yes?
That is correct.
Because we brought up concerns regarding what the traffic impact analysis was, and I would like to understand if anyone else got a copy of this. Did anyone get a copy of this?
I think we all got a copy of it.
We all got a copy of it. For the public, since you are sitting here, and I want you to understand about your tax dollars and where developer contribution comes in, I would like to read this letter to Mr. Joe Ruiz. Mr. Ruiz, per our discussion last week, the county has concerns about the traffic generated by the Deltona Village project, and given the recent request to the city to modify the zoning document, it makes sense to review the documents provided to support the development agreement. The original Deltona Business Plan Unit Development, Section 10, Fair Share Cost of Roadway Improvements, defines the developer's requirements to make proportionate fair share payments to offset impacts to the surrounding thoroughfare road network. As referenced in the development agreement, the PFS payments quoted in the development agreement were taken from the traffic impact analysis for the project. The 12/14/2009 TIAs were prepared by Kimley Horn and Associates on behalf of the developer and approved by the city and the county. The study, typical to standard requirements for a TIA, calculated background traffic before adding the proposed traffic from the development to determine which roads were failing, and therefore required a PFS payment to mitigate the proposed impact. Background traffic is calculated by taking the latest traffic counts, and applying a growth factor that is applied for each year from the year of the latest traffic count until the year of the project build-out of the project. That would be 2023, not 2009. The county's concern is that the build-out date, the background traffic calculated, was off the mark by a large margin. The TIA projected a 2013 build-out date that has been surpassed, and a majority of the site has still not been developed. If the build-out date is revised to 2028, this date was picked for simplicity of calculation, and given the time frame at which it has taken the amount of development that has occurred to occur, this doesn't seem unrealistic, then the background growth since 2008 is 4 times as what was calculated in the TIA. The significance is that the study on which the PFS payment was based is no longer valid due to assumptions that were found to be incorrect. The study should be updated based on an updated build-out and the PFS payment revised accordingly. The approved Deltona Village BPUD required the developer to make a proportionate fair share payments to the county or to the city as the collecting agent for the county as the development progressed through its 3 phases. Has the city collected collected and submitted to the county the required PFS payments. The county does not have a copy of the current developed square footage to make the determination as to the current phase of the project. If the city has the information, it would be appreciated if that could be provided to the county. Thank you for your time in this matter. Signed by the county engineer. And I bring that up to ask these questions. That it is my understanding that this request can be approved withstanding the .61 acreage, correct? And the additional 260 whatever it is units, correct? That is not vested. May I have the legal and the builder and the staff's opinion and answer on that?
Would you like to answer, Marcia, or would you like me to answer? So the unit cap that exists now is 414. If the ordinance is adopted, then it would go up to 652. So the increase of 238, if I'm not mistaken, was not a vested number in the original approval. That is correct.
So for clarification to my taxpayers, understanding that the City Commission could vote to remove the .61 acres and the units, and that would come back to the City Commission, and that would require a new traffic impact analysis, which would tax, or it would require that the developer pay the proportionate fair share as in modern times, not back from 2009. So not only would we receive the generated tax revenue from that, but we would also receive the proportionate fair share. Because listen, in all reality, what's done was done. This was done back in 2009. It's moved forward. It's been piecemeal together, this whole development here. And we are going to pay the cost if we don't halt for a moment and understand what is happening here. The county has concerns about a proportionate fair share because having, from 2009 in Deltona to right now, if you traveled Howland Boulevard, Graves, that area, you want to tell me that that is modern, 2009 is the same traffic impact that we have? No, it's not. So I would ask that if we're going to ask our residents to pay 2023 prices, that we do the same for development here in Deltona, because I think developers have enjoyed a pretty sweet ride in Deltona, and I'm questioning this so that we are able to support our infrastructure, and maybe we won't have, if we are doing these fair and proportionate share, we won't have these special assessments because we'll be actually collecting revenue that is due to us. That's all I'm asking for the residents and the commission to think about. We have to vest what is vested, but the .61 that they're asking for here and the 262 extra apartments, if we do not say no to this, then that revenue will be escaping the taxpayers of Deltona. So I'm asking us to stop and think about that. It's going to come back. It's going to get developed because there's somebody that wants those apartments. And this is Deltona's opportunity to collect a fair and proportionate share according to 2023 standards, and that's all I'm asking you to do. That's all I got here. I have tried my level best on this, and I don't know what to do after that, because up until now, this development has enjoyed no caps on density, because in 2008, we were so desperate that we said yes to everything, and we are not a just say yes community anymore. We deserve fair and equal treatment, and I am asking us to stop for a moment and think about this. The county has concerns. The county has concerns. So take with it what you will. It's the last I'm going to speak on this. I have nothing to add to the conversation.
Thank you, Commissioner McCool. Commissioner Jody Lee, then Vice Mayor Bradford.
With all this information, Joe, Mr. Ruiz, the applicant, you've been working on getting these different businesses in here and Panda Express. Now, how long have you been working with Panda Express to get in this area? 2+ years. And there's another one coming, and you've been working a while on them too. So this is you yourself working on getting these businesses in Deltona, not none of us, just you getting these businesses. Well, when this comes up, and I hate to put this information out, but it's all free, information you can find yourself. And you use the tax codes legally like everybody else would and should. But on that farmland that was there when you had animals out there that was under grazing, you're paying a whole $1,000 a year for all that land. I mean, if I could take advantage of the tax law, I would too. And that's your legal right. Now, you built the gas station too, right? There, you started with the racetrack gas station, you got that, all that. Well, now the racetrack gas station last year is paying $55,000 in taxes. The movie theater that you built, you got all done. The movie theater is paying $110,000 a year in taxes. Right now, as it stands, without these apartments being done, without nobody living there, with all the construction, they already owe us $81,000. They're not even done. I'm making this point because this is how we're getting all these projects done. These tax money, everybody says, we want businesses, we want this. It's happening. And I don't want to pick on you, Commissioner. You're talking now, the county's upset, the county has worries about this. Any other time, we all sit here and talk about how the county don't pay attention to us. The county forgets us. Because we always do. Deltona's the stepchild of the county. I don't care if the county's upset. I really don't. We have to do this for us. This is a lot of tax money. I mean, it's going to be a couple $100,000 a year when this project's done that the city's going to get. I'm sorry. This is what we've been talking about, getting business, getting restaurants. This is what we want. This is how we can lower the millage rate later on more. We can keep bringing taxes in. This is how we're going to fix the situation where people don't have to pay these high taxes. That's it.
Vice Mayor Bradford.
Thank you for starting my preach. So, this is in District 2. For 6 years, I have heard, prior to that, and sorry if I offend you guys on this, I have heard, when are we going to get restaurants? When are we going to get businesses? When are we going to get commercial in here? We have nowhere to go. We have to go to Orange City, to Landaberry, Sanford. It is time we brought something in around the movie theater other than cattle and goats and whatever else is out there, right? We've heard that. We've all said that. We all get challenged with bringing in commercial restaurants or commercial businesses. Services. Services are plazas. Services are whatever you want to call it. That is what it is, a service. Somewhere you can go and you can purchase something locally. Okay? So how much was a proportionate fair share that we were asking for? Which, by the way, when did we start asking for that? I'll tell you when we started asking for that. Not a year ago, not 6 months ago. We asked for that in the 9th inning with a runner on third base and said, woo-hoo, it's right here, but if you want it, I need this much extra money. What? Whoa, 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 where'd this come from? That's my problem too. You don't dangle something right at the end and throw it at somebody. I'm lucky this person's not backing out. We're real lucky. You don't treat somebody like that is coming to your city, investing millions of dollars. I want you to think about the tax dollars we're making for the racetrack, the tax dollars, and actually the county, I doubt they're upset because these properties are in the county. County water's banking. These guys are banking, county utilities are banking, cities banking with taxes. Who is not winning by bringing the apartments, by bringing the development? I'm not concerned about 0.61 acres. Thank you for your patience for 10, 12 years dealing with trying to get this through. And I pray to God the next developer that comes in or the next landowner that comes in and tries to bring a commercial base, which, by the way, we just spoke about reducing the tax burden on the residents. Where do you think that tax burden is going to be lessened from? Your commercial base. So we bring in the commercial base that can help reduce the amount of taxes that we have on the residents. So would I be willing to waive $900,000 to bring in an extra $1.52 million in property taxes for that area? Heck yeah. Because you know what? That one-time prop share, which could scare a potential developer away, I'm going to get residual income year after year after a year. This isn't about, oh, I'm taking from my residents. This is about giving to you what you have asked for decades. I'm going to be off my soapbox.
Mr. Ruiz, quick question.
Yes, sir.
What was the PFS that was requested of that property?
The original number or the updated number?
Were they requested funds up front like people usually are, or were they requested to actually do road improvements?
The agreement mentioned both roadway improvements, which is why I believe the city did not request any PFS, which would have been around off of Normandy. And then the county did it in a phased approach where they would have to pay starting at $125,000 after a certain threshold, and then that number would be, the remaining portions would be paid out as the project was built out.
Out of curiosity, who did the majority of the road improvements in that area?
The majority of roadway improvements, from what I understand, was actually done during the Amazon project.
So it was done by Amazon, not the
That is my
the property
understanding.
owner, correct? Okay. So even though the Amazon was not part of that PFS, the original agreement, Amazon took it upon themselves to pretty much do the road improvements that they were supposed to do. Is that my understanding?
That is my understanding, yes.
Okay. Reason I'm bringing that up is because I got a map here that I was given by the subcommittee I'm part of for transportation and infrastructure that I gave to every single commissioner up here, or I gave to the city manager to give out. And on here, we got near critical is that Graves area and Howland Boulevard, which they have in their preview at some point to expand to 5 to 6 lanes. They're not sure. You know, we have a school there, and I'm not going to talk about concurrency. I'm going to talk about the safety of our kids, right? I want to see that area developed. I'm not here to fight the development. All I'm saying is if we can sit here and tell our residents, hey, we're going to reduce the millage, not to a full rollback, but it's still technically an increase. We're going to reduce the millage, and because we have a lot of infrastructure that we need to fix. How am I going to sit here at the same time and tell a business developer, hey, it's okay, we're not going to hold you to the same standard? Mr. Chisholm, are you able to tell me how much of Amazon's taxes we paid? I know we brought that up during the budget. We actually paid back, it's a couple $1 million, wasn't it?
I think it's something like $1 million a year. But that was an incentive that the city agreed to for, I think, a 5-year period.
I fully understand that. Okay. It's an incentive of 5 years, a little bit over $5 million that they're going to get back. The residents end up paying themselves, right? Whatever the point is. All I'm trying to say is, all I'm asking for is for PFS. I'm asking for them to pay their profit fair share on getting some of these roads done. The counties, the way it was explained to me, the way TPO works and the way the funding works is they're supposed to be planning ahead. Unfortunately, the county, and we can sit here and bash them all we want, I'm the first one on that list, right? But they're working behind. And the last thing we need to do is continue to give developers a pass because it's going to bring us future tax revenue, which, you know, at this point, I think I know how where everybody's ideas and thoughts are. So I'm just giving my 2 cents on that, Commissioner McCool.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And, you know, here's the thing. That property was held under agricultural taxing for a long time. That benefit was enjoyed, whatever. We can go back and forth all day long. Can I ask what the proposed prop share is with updated between the county and the city? What is the dollar amount suggested that would be the prop share based on 2023 TIA?
Based from what our consultant put together, based on the background trips that were mentioned in that letter, and the calculations for the city, the county, and also the state for that 472 interchange, were about $10 million.
$10 million. So if we're comfortable with, here's the thing, that area is going to get developed here. This is a game of chicken. If a developer is going to pull out, there's going to be another developer to come along and develop it. And I understand that Integra wants that desperately to put those new apartments in. So I don't see where the prop share would be out of, that's between all collected funding. That's a significant amount of money. And that's based on real time what today is. Who is not paying today's cost? Sitting here, everyone is. You can't go back in 2009 and ask them to use building material cost prices from 2009 either, nor labor. So all I'm asking is that this is going to get developed. If we're willing to walk away and sign this today, I'm like, my hands are clean, because between the county, city, state, $10 million gone. Yeah, we might get the revenue, but we could have that money also, so I'm just putting that out there.
We're going to go ahead and move to presentation from the applicant.
Microphone. It turns on the green light.
There it is. I think I got it. We're here to primarily answer questions. Obviously, we have some disagreements as to why you have a development agreement, why we have impact fee credits that are paid, which are going to be close to over $8 million from this project, which are going to go for road improvements. We have a prop fair share that was established in a development agreement of $1.9 million, which pertain to the improvements. We have a letter that's been presented to you previously in December of 2019, where the city has acknowledged the satisfaction of the prop fair share payment. We have acknowledgement of the vested rights of the traffic, the trips, which is what we're talking about is the vested rights that we're speaking of. So I could go into this as we did in the last hearing, but we have the traffic consultant, Kimley Horn, here. Fortunately, in development, you have development agreements. You establish your rights as of that time, that point in time. And this specific, I'd like just to point out, the development agreement contained language, because this is 2010 when this was done, that of the poor economic times, and that the completion date would be extended, or shall be extended, it states, based on the economic times. That's on page 8 of the development agreement. So also I'd like to point out that we were never provided, although we asked, for the letter from the county. So as it was read into the record, that was never provided to us previously. Fortunately, we do have information. We did receive a rumor, and we contacted the county, and they provided it to us. Despite us asking Mr. Ruiz and the city attorney to provide it to us, they did a public records request instead of providing that letter to us. So this is an ongoing problem with the city of Deltona. I don't know if they thought that, or someone thought that we were going to be sideswiped by the presentation of this letter from the county. We have spoken to Taz Casbeer. We provided him with the development agreement. We provided him with copies of the letters from John Cheney and the approval of the county with the traffic mitigation plan, so that he had all the information that he didn't have. We also have asked him if he had any other questions. He really acknowledged that there was no dog in the fight by the county, and that there had been pressure put on them by a commissioner to provide that letter. So at this point in time, if you have questions, we do have a traffic engineer here to answer them. Otherwise, we'd respectfully request your vote.
Commissioner Jody Lee.
With all this tax money from this project, and Commissioner McCool, I understand your thing about the county and the rate and the traffic and all that. To me, it's kind of, it's a lot of money, but at the same time, the county's crying about the money that they need for this road, but yet we have a couple of roads that are county roads in this city, and has anybody tried to get them to pave something or fix something that's a county road? They don't care about us. That's how it's been. We get forgotten about all the time. Mr. DeMarsh, how much money do you think, you don't have to answer this, you already got invested in this project, and you've been going through this for years and years? I guess it's a little bit. Okay, I'll stick at that. I'm sure you're being facetious about that one, because I'm sure it's up there. But these restaurants are going to bring in, the racetrack gas station's $50,000 a year. The movie theater's $100,000 a year. Okay, just put a goat on the property, and we'll go back to $1,000 a year. This is the stuff that everybody's talking about, like Vice Mayor, you said. They're talking about businesses. We're talking about the apartments people live. It's right there off the highway. It's where the Nutty Bavarian is going to go. It's where Amazon is. People can work. People need apartments. It's just common sense. Yes, I'm sorry, the county's not going to get all the money for traffic. My bad. We can't even get them to fix Lake Helen Olstein Road that you drive down. You have to buy a new car after you go down it one time. Come on. It's what the people have been asking for. It's restaurants. It's something different than McDonald's, Taco Bell. I mean, yeah, it's Panda Express.
Guys, come on.
I mean, it's time for the commercial base, and it's going to bring us, I mean, these apartments and when everything's done, it's going to bring us, between all the different businesses and everything, you're talking a few $100,000 a year in taxes that we're not getting now. We keep talking about bringing in more money. Here it is. And we're going to sit up here and argue about, well, we're not paying enough for the traffic. Come on, let's get over it. That's it.
Commissioner Vila Vasquez?
Mayor, can we call the vote, please?
Before we call a vote, we need to get is there anybody with standing that would like to speak? He doesn't have standing?
No, Mayor, there's no one withstanding.
I didn't get a list this time.
Okay, yeah, but there's no one withstanding.
Okay, so we're going to go to public participation then, so you can't speak in public participation.
Doug McDonald, then Dave Muniz, then Kathy Bryan, then Adam Vasquez. Doug McDonald, please.
Doug McDonald, Surrey Run Court, Deltona. People like me have been here since 1991, waiting for development. Here's an economic barometer for you that you haven't considered. My wife and I spend at least $100 a week outside this city. Outside. How much money do you think thousands of people in Deltona are in the same boat? There's nowhere to go here other than his movie theater. There's no restaurants. There's like one barber shop. No CPAs. Dry cleaners, maybe. I mean, I can go on down the list. And here's a man that's put in years and years to get this property developed. He's complied with every rule there is. Some time ago, Commissioner Maritza came up and discussed a letter, I think, that she said she had from the school board stating they didn't have any objections or the fact that the school situation would be resolved properly and equally with the situation that we have here. Nothing further needed to be done. I think I got that impression from her. But yet, in other meetings later on, it seems like we're being held responsible for what the school board thinks and what they do. And we're not. This is the city. It's not the school board, and it's not the county. We have another commissioner here who spoke about the fact he only paid $1,000 a year in taxes for this land that he owns out there. Isn't that what you were supposed to pay? Yes. He's paid every penny that legally he's told that he needs to pay. Movie theater, Burger King, racetrack, it's all paid. How much would it be if all the people, including myself, took that money and invested it in the community and him and others? The sales tax that you would get, plus all the money that we would spend. So the traffic is bad. I agree with that. I say let's put up with it. Let's get some businesses over there. We really need it, and we've been waiting a long time. Thank you.
Dave Muniz, please.
Hi. How long did this guy keep a goat before he saw an opportunity to take advantage of the city for $1,000? I mean, come on. Another thing, as I was reading through this paper, it says we got to pay an additional $28,000 for the water disposal because you guys couldn't make a decision. $28,000 out, just thrown out because a decision couldn't get made. What else we got in here? A Panda Express and a Starbucks is not what these people are looking for. That's a fucking joke. Sorry, that's a joke. He wants to add more units. I guess what I'm trying to understand is why are the regular people footing the infrastructure bill that the city can't sustain? Why aren't all the new development that has been approved the last year or two footing the bill for all this? That's what I want to know. Thanks.
Kathy Bryan, please.
Good evening, Kathy Bryan. I agree 100%. We need commercial revenue. We need it badly. It will definitely help take some of the burden off of residents. As this gentleman said, yeah, there's restaurants coming in, and that's sort of good, but after talking to a lot of people don't, it's not fast food restaurants they want to go someplace where they can dine. What I'd like to see come in is more light industrial. I mean, you got Amazon, you got the Nutty Bavarian, medical services, some more stuff like that. Let's bring that in. The apartments, I agree, are going to bring in money. I'm all for that. However, with all the back and forth, and then as long as this contract has been in business, maybe going forward, we need to look at how we handle these contracts so that we're not looking at studies that are more than 10 years old for traffic. We can look at today. The other thing is when they do these traffic studies, and I honestly don't know, I do some research on it, but are they looking what surrounding areas are doing? Because right off there on 472, before you get to Veterans Memorial Parkway, what are they building? Apartments. Now, some of those people are probably going to hit Veterans Memorial Parkway down to Saxon to hit I-4 or whatever, but some of them are going to come up our way. So maybe we need to look into putting verbiage going forward about future studies and prices after so much time has gone by. It's not a bad idea if you think about it, and that way we don't get stuck and the developer pays what they need to pay. And by the way, I like the cows. I wouldn't mind seeing the development and the cows.
Adam Vasquez, please.
Good evening, Adam Vasquez, 707 Cloverleaf Boulevard, Deltona. I had the opportunity to attend that subcommittee transportation meeting today, and there's a lot of talk up here about the tax revenue that's coming in. You know, I'm happy to see commercial development come in. I wish it was a little bit more mixed use, meaning, you know, like an area that you could actually go walk around. There's several examples, like there's one in Heathrow, Sanford. It would be nice to have, that's mixed use. Having restaurants is more like a BPUD, I think, or commercial. So, Mayor Billy, you can read the slide if you wish. So we're talking about bringing $100,000 in, and who cares about the road? So what I'm finding here, because transportation is something close to me, I would like to see us solve our region's transportation problem. And you know, what we heard today is and you have the list, some of these projects, like to fix a short segment of road like this area of Howland, you're looking at like $15 million. You should read the list, Mayor Vila. It sounds like you have the slide. So like when you bring in $100,000, right, you have to bring that in for years before you'll even raise the $15 million to repair the road. And then there was talk about, you know, with the rise of EVs, they don't contribute to the gas tax, which is how the roadway today is funded, right? That's how we fund our projects, right? And then also cars are more fuel efficient. So there does need to be change there to recapture some of those fees so that we can actually fix our transportation problem. But just saying, we don't get it from the developer, you're not going to get the money from the taxes to fix that road. We need to explore other funding options, perhaps maybe turn it into a toll road to handle all the traffic, fine, then you have your funding. But right now, approving this is going to add the traffic to that road, and it's going to cost millions of dollars to fix it, not $100,000 or not something you can make back in a couple of years. So thank you, guys.
Mayor, that closes public comments.
Is there any rebuttal from the applicant's attorney?
No.
Okay. We're going to go to two more commissioners, and then we're going to go ahead and do the motion that was already done in the second. So Commissioner Vila Vasquez and then Commissioner McCool. Oh, it just kicked off. Okay, Commissioner McCool, and then we'll go to a vote.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And as so stated, the $10 million that are going bye-bye is going to take care of infrastructure. We will never catch up. Development does not pay for itself, sorry. It's just, you know, it is what it is. And, you know, to be proud that a community was gotten over on because of a 2009 traffic study, to be proud of that. I understand that we need development, right? We're going to have apartments here that I don't know if they're going to be affordable or not. I don't know what they're going to cost, you know, who knows? The only thing that I can say is that, you know, this is going to go through, okay? This vote is going to go through. That $10 million will never get back. And developers want to come to Deltona. Do you know why? We have an attractive population. We have attractive property here. We have people that want to come here. So anyone that tries to scare you with fear porn, saying this is your last chance, shame on them, because this is an attractive community. It's not the last. So congratulations, walking out of here with $10 million plus whatever on this. But I would like our Deltona residents, I would like our servants at the county, the state, and the city level to think about when we are approving new development that we need new numbers to go along with it. Because if you go back, which I've done, I've spent 30, 40 hours on this development, going back all the way to 2006, 7, 8, reading this. When you go back, the deal that was written for this developer was going to develop when the time was right. There was a sweet deal written on the backs of the community of Deltona. Uncapped density, I mean, it was just remarkable how, so well done, I will have to tell you that was smart and well done. So residents of Deltona, just in future moving forward, demand more from your planning and development. And I don't mean the team here, it's a great planning and development team, but be aware how things are developed in your community and what it's really going to cost you, what the cost really is to the community when you start hearing about this. Demand that you be more informed, you know, and that your administrators be more informed how these things are written, because the devil, remember this, the devil is in the details. And I'll leave you with this also. Just remember this, that sugar and salt look the same. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Marcia?
Mr. Mayor, may I please read the ordinance? And then also, I want to remind everyone that when you vote, to please give your reasons for your vote. Ordinance number 04-2023, an ordinance of the City of Deltona, Florida, providing for an amendment to the Deltona Village Business Plan Unit Development, or BPUD, Overall Development Plan, Master Development Plan, increasing the number of multifamily unit allocation for the BPUD from 414 units to 652 units, amendment to the development agreement approved by ordinance number 21-2009, and rezone an additional plus or minus 0.61 acre of land to be included within the Deltona Village BPUD, providing for severability and providing for an effective date.
Do you want me to call each one? We're going to go ahead with the vote, please. Okay. Commissioner Burbank?
I vote yes. I stand by our contract, and it meets the intent of the comprehensive plan.
Commissioner Avila Vasquez?
Yes, meets all the requirements.
Commissioner Dana McCool?
No, because it is screwing the residents of Deltona.
Guys? Commissioner Stephen Caldwell?
I'm a yes. I think the revenue from the taxes will definitely benefit.
Commissioner Jody Lee?
Yes, because it gives the residents of Deltona what they've been asking for.
Vice Mayor Bradford?
Yes, it meets the comp plan, the strategic plan, and all the recommendations of our own staff.
And I vote no because we're talking about increasing in housing, not restaurants. I don't believe that they're vested. I'll leave it there. The motion passes 5-2. This time we're going to go ahead and move to public hearing ordinance number 08-2023, amending the Code of Ordinances, Subpart A, Chapter 14, Article 8, Chicken, Sections 14-281 and 14-282 at the first reading. And I am looking for questions or motions, and I have some concerns, but if anybody wants to go first.
Mayor, you want to pull D then? We're going to go over D. I'm sorry. We're going over D, the chickens, yeah?
Yeah, the chickens. Joseph?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor, City Commission, respected members of the public. So the ordinance draft that is before you, amending Chapter 14, ordinance number 08-2023, specifically sections 14-281 and 282 within our Code of Ordinances. What staff has done is propose to you all a draft ordinance based on the recommendations, public input, and the discussions that were had at the May 8th City Commission workshop. And so at this time, staff believes that all items that were discussed at that time have been addressed and included in this draft, and therefore if there are any questions to be fielded, I'm here to answer any questions related to the ordinance.
Okay. I have Commissioner Avila Vasquez on the board, and if nobody else is on, then I have a couple questions.
Thank you, Mayor. Joe, did I miss somewhere in here the number of chickens that are going to be approved?
No, perhaps you might have overlooked it because of the strike-through. On number 1 in section 14-281, the ordinance proposal states no more than 10 chickens may be kept on a parcel that is half acre or greater, and then it follows up by saying no more than 5 chickens may be kept on a parcel that is less than half an acre. Roosters shall be prohibited.
So hasn't changed then? It didn't change from the previous ordinance, it's still 5 chickens?
5, the previous ordinance mentioned 5 chickens per parcel. This one is on a kind of a gradual scale. So it's 5 if you have half an acre or less, and then you can have 10 if you have half an acre or more.
Thank you.
So my question is, we somehow went to, for a chicken coop over 50 square feet, there needs to be an engineering drawing. How did we change? I believe we were at 100 square feet.
So prior to the prior ordinance, and I worked closely with the building official and the building staff on this, the prior ordinance said, based on the building code, that a chicken coop under 100 square feet was not required or was exempt. Anything above 100 square feet would then require a building permit. In working with our building staff, they could not find where that language was. Perhaps it was an amendment to the building code. So in working together, what was recommended to be included here on behalf of building was that the chicken coop, anything 50 or less would require a permit, but not engineered drawings. But if it was 50 or more, and then no more than 120, it would require engineering drawings with their permit.
Okay, because I have somewhat of an issue with this. I prefer it to be left at 100 square feet, but I mean, we can discuss that further. Also, you need a building permit for the chicken coop and a chicken permit.
Correct, Mayor.
So you would need both?
Yes, you would need a permit for the chickens, and then yes, you would need a permit for the chicken coop, building permit for the chicken coop.
Okay, and then we went from $25 to $75.
Yes.
Don't we think that that's a little bit more, and I don't know who came up with that fee, but isn't that a little bit cost prohibitive for some of the residents?
So I have.
I mean, I think they have they've set a good trend that they haven't had really any issues, but I'm just curious.
Yeah, so in discussions with this and also in working with Suzette, and Suzette, feel free to chime in if anything. Part of that fee increase was to allow for the code enforcement inspection that happens for the chickens, and then also the coop inspection, which then at that, my understanding is the building permit wouldn't have a inspection fee, it would just be all included with the chicken permit.
So the $75 covers the building permit and the chicken coop?
I believe Suzette is, sorry, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, that is correct.
Okay. And Suzette, maybe you can help answer this. Is there a specific reason why? Because I actually, call me crazy, right? Chickens always, when they come up, it's always a big ordeal. But I visited 3 different chicken coops, undisclosed areas in the city, and they're just under 100 square feet. They went through, I believe, one of them went through like 3 or 4 different hurricanes. They didn't, I mean, it's just mesh. So I don't understand why what safety reasons we would move it from 100 square feet to 50 square feet.
Again, under the building department and building officials' recommendation, it was so that we have it tied down, we understand how it was designed and prepared for our high winds.
Okay. Any other questions from the commissioners up here? Commissioner McCool? Thank you, Susan.
I have a problem with the $75, number one. And number two, chicken coops are mesh, and I just, people are going to protect their livestock, and I just think that some of this is
redundant,
prohibitive here. I understand, but I mean, I know that we have standards also for animal shelters, period, which, you know, I just have a fundamental problem with that. I understand that we have to inspect, but $75 is a lot. Somebody's raising chickens, they're trying to provide a food source for themselves, right? And so I think that that's excessive, that needs to go, and so does the, I don't know, I just think that it's a lot. You know, I think it's a lot. People take care of their wildlife. So there you go. I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. That's all I have.
Okay. Commissioner Burbank?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Beg your pardon. I kind of agree with Commissioner McCool. And I missed this workshop, so I'm reading it's 4 square feet per chicken, and you can't have more than 10 chickens, so you need a building permit for a 40 square foot building. I just kind of what she's saying, I think, too. Thank you.
Do we have any public comment?
Yes.
Yes, Mayor. We have Davison Herrick and James Pesha. Davison, please.
Davison Harriet. I live here in Deltona. I'd like to talk about a couple things. It's been a pretty contentious meeting, so I don't want to continue that. There's a lot of reasons to have chickens. It's not just for eggs. Quite frankly, I give all my eggs away. We use maybe 7 or 8 a week. The neighbor kids love coming over collecting eggs. We have kids come down from 2 streets away just to see the chickens. For us, the purpose of chickens is primarily for the garden. They fertilize our garden, they weed our garden, and then on top of that, they're enjoyable to watch. I've got a couple concerns with the proposed language. I want to thank Suzette and Mr. Chisholm for allowing us the opportunity to work with them to bring this to the board after 10 years of, I believe, no complaint-driven issues. The biggest complaint that I have is with number 8, the requirement of the building permit. It just seems a little prohibitive to require a chicken permit and a building permit, regardless of the expense of the building permit. It's just additional paperwork and bureaucracy that is just unnecessary. We're talking about something the size of a doghouse. The second part of number 8, the requirement of engineered drawings for a coop size over 50 square feet. Deltona's not the first one with a chicken permit. There are a ton of agencies within Volusia County, outside of Volusia County. Nobody requires a engineered drawings for a chicken coop. Nobody does. Even Orange County has language that requires that the chicken coop be tied down with wind restraints, but there's no language regarding engineer drawings. The cost and the time for engineer drawings is absolutely absurd. I mean, fine, make it $75, but we're talking about $500 to over $1,000 for engineer drawings for a chicken coop. That discussion hasn't even come up when we're talking about fences and their literal sails in the wind. My chicken coop has been through way over 3 storms. My chicken coop has gone from the east side of Orlando on the back of a trailer at 65, 70 miles an hour to Deltona, pulled off of a trailer, and you can still run into it with a lawnmower and it's not gonna budge. There's not an issue with wind straps or engineering or anything. I can guarantee you that. It's just a prohibitive effect to really reduce people's interest in chickens. And I also want to bring up one other point about this ordinance. It's not a point that's even changed. It's a point that was in there before and is left in there, is that these have to be owner-occupied residences. If you rent, you still cannot own a chicken coop legally or obtain a chicken permit in the city of Deltona. So, you know, the people that are going to cause the problems are going to cause the problems by putting a more restrictive permit process in place. You're not going to fix the people that just want to have chickens and are going to be the problem people. You're just limiting the people that want to do it right. And that's all I have. Thank you very much.
James Pesha, please.
Jim Pesha, Deltona. Well, this issue came up a couple of months ago, and basically it was to address some mistakes that were made in the language of the original ordinance. And the city, Mr. Harriet and myself, my wife, sat down and we worked them out, and everything came out very nicely. A lot of the mistakes that were made in the first round have been corrected. But we brought up one point that is of major concern to me, and that's the change of the size, the building permit requirement, and those ridiculous requirements to have engineering drawings for a chicken coop. I'm sorry, it's ridiculous. I built a shed a couple of years ago. I went to this building department. It is a 120 square foot shed. Does not require engineering drawings. All I had to do was submit pictures of the shed I was building. Did it require a permit? Yes. Did it pass inspection? Yes. Did it require engineering drawings? No, it did not. We talked about fences here a while back where we had a different ordinance for the in code enforcement, another one for building department. Who suffered? The citizens. We're supposed to make things uniform, standard, and easy for the citizens. You just added another layer to this ordinance to make it more complicated. It's not going to make it better for the city. It's going to add more labor to them. It's going to make it harder for the city. It's going to make it impossible for the citizens. And when the citizens can't do it practically, they won't do it at all. And now we have underground chickens. And now we have more of a problem than we started with. This way, if you take that clause out, you have people willing to pay the fee, come in, get inspections, and follow the rules. Make it difficult for them, and all the rules go out the door. Let's make it another correction. Let's move forward. You did a great job of correcting mistakes. Let's not add one in the process. Thank you.
Lindsay Briones, please.
Hi again, everybody. So I lived in California for the last 5 years until I moved back to the city of Deltona. When we lived in California, we had 25 chickens. When we had those chickens, we provided the eggs for our senior citizen center that we had. We donated them. Since I've moved back, I have found several people here who get rid of their chicken eggs, and I've been to their farms because I want to see where I'm purchasing my food from. And out of 4 out of 5 of those farms, I would purchase the eggs from. a chicken coop, you don't need an engineer drawing for. It's literally mesh or this little
Chicken wire
that, believe it or not, is really strong. I have a 120-pound pit bull who is deathly afraid of chicken wire, and it survived Hurricane Ian and whatnot. We don't need an engineering, whatever it is, we don't need it. I think that's a little bit ridiculous, and I know that several of the farms that I work with, they're struggling as it is. This is just one more bill added on to it, and it's an overburden for things, and I think y'all need to take a step back for a little bit and just cool it. Because some of those farmers are also the same farmers who want to come to the farmer's market that I want to build. So, yeah, that's all I have to say. It's ridiculous.
Excuse me, Albert Bryan, please.
Okay, one more time, we're talking about chickens. Chickens have been on the menu tonight, I guess. Let's see here. I brought up the fact that no matter what y'all do, y'all want to take money out of our pocket. What I don't understand is why you have to go to such extremes to do this. I asked the last time this came up to have an inspection done of the chicken coops. Why? Because I've seen chicken coops as big as the apartments that y'all just passed. So, I mean, it's not that you should be charging them $1,000 for building plans and or otherwise. Somebody can actually take on a piece of graph paper and actually draw it up. It's not that difficult. But that being said, this same city would not take that kind of drawing for my kid's fort. I had to get an engineering drawing for my kid's fort. So you think the extremes of this, I mean the real extremes of this. Now, all that being said, let's go back to what we just went through. We went through 2 hurricanes. We had flooding this deep in some areas. Are you going to have those chicken up off the ground where they don't drown? Or are you going to be able to pull them out of your chicken coop and take them with you in your car? That depends on how many chickens you have and how many kids you have, I guess. Are you going to pull your kids out before you pull your chickens out, or vice versa? I guess that all depends on whether you have morals or not. Morals. Something lacking here. Okay, so the thing we got to think about really here is the fact that we are talking about chickens. Literally, chickens that lay eggs. And, you know, it's not that difficult. I've been over to Mr. Pesci's house. I have seen his chicken coop. Immaculate. That thing's almost better than my kid's room. Probably better kept than my kid's room. But all that being said, he uses his chicken dung for his garden. Does he use the chicken eggs? Of course he does. Or actually, no, he doesn't. Mrs. Pesci does. So think about this. These people are trying to do something that allows them to sustain a certain style of life. Do we want to charge them an over-exuberant amount for an inspection? That's all I ask for is an inspection. Because if you're going to take and tell me I got to have an inspection of my kid's fort or my shed, the same should be done for that chicken coop. Now, that being said, doesn't mean I have to have concrete drawings that have every micromillimeter down on how it's going to be faceted and or otherwise. Just inspect the damn thing. It's not that difficult, people. It really isn't. Mr. Chisholm, by the way, according to this ordinance you're passing, you're in violation. You've got 7 chickens right up there.
Go ahead, Suzette.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, the city staff would like to recommend that we strike the movement towards the building permit, that we move towards doing the chicken permit and keeping the fine or the fee at $25.
Thank you. We're going to go, thank you, Suzette. We're going to go to Vice Mayor Bradford, Commissioner McCool, and then Commissioner Jodely.
Okay, I was actually just looking up other surrounding cities and what they require. I believe in 2015, the state of Florida actually passed now the requirements on even sheds under 100 square foot. The reason they do that is, as Mr. Elwood expressed, not everybody has a chicken coop that is just made of wire. If you're going to have a structure, let's say, hence my neighbor has a chicken coop in their backyard that is made of wood and not tied down. And then after hurricane, we'll call Albert, just kidding, Hurricane Ian or Nicole goes through, I have a chicken coop in my backyard. So there is a reason that they have requirements as far as tie downs. If you have a chicken coop that is just straight chicken wire and you just got a chicken coop, guess what? You don't need a tie down. You're right. That wind is going to blow through that chicken coop. But if you have a structure, you're talking to somebody who deals with construction here, I don't want my neighbor's chicken coop in my pool. So I do think there are parameters. So other surrounding counties actually have some great examples, okay, of ordinance. Seminole County had one. I think I was looking at a 2016. A couple things they did. They may not, but a couple things they did in their pilot program was, if you're not the fee simple owner, you do require consent from the property owner. Hence, nothing against it, but when I pull up on my property and I'm getting complaints from neighbors on a rental property that there's a chicken coop, guess what? You're probably going to be removing that. So I think there's perimeters. I would like to see something done. Obviously, I'm never the most popular one here. We do have to account for staff time. So I would like to see a fee that is more adequate to, if we do have to do an inspection, if they're just doing a standard wired chicken coop, chicken run, nothing that's going to require a tie down, you know, maybe just do a XYZ number of permits that we're allowed to put out. So we may say, hey, let's do a trial run of 100 applications, okay? Once those applications are done, let's see how this pilot program works. And then another awesome thing that I thought they had in Seminole County is they did require individuals to go to the University of Florida Extension Service and take a class. Okay? I know there are wonderful people out here who take care of their chickens. I'm not going to say there's not. I have been to a few places where I've seen dead chickens underneath the chicken coop. It's not a pretty sight, nor do I want to be that neighbor. So unfortunately, it's those bad ones that I've actually seen that kind of put a horror story in my head. There's great ones out here. I love it. I'm happy to see you're giving to the neighborhoods, you're giving to everybody. Thank you. But not everybody does it the way you guys do it. And because of that, we got to take parameters, unfortunately. So, I mean, if you guys say staff time to take that application and, you know, get your inspector to go out there and make sure that it's whatever safe, and you guys say, okay, staff time is going to be $25, I don't have a problem with that. Okay, but I think, you know, I'd like to see it more reasonable. Or you may say it's every 2 years, I don't know. But definitely would like, I didn't see it in here, I kind of looked through it again, but I wasn't seeing the class mentioned, which I thought we had talked about before. If it is non-chicken wire, it needs to adhere to the Florida Building Code. I've turned in permits for screen rooms that were handwritten, honestly. So if it's one of those, I've seen some awesome chicken coops, and this is why I'm saying that. I've seen some amazing looking chicken coops where our chickens do up and they got their big old room and it's beautiful. But that's also a hazard during high winds. So.
Commissioner, to your comment on the class, it's not a requirement, it's an encouragement, and it's on number 6 on page 3 of 3.
On which one? Which?
Page 3.
Page 3 of the
underlying strike-through, yeah.
Is it on the strike-through?
Yes, persons granted a chicken permit
Okay,
are
because I
encouraged.
missed that page. I missed that one item on page 3. Okay.
And we do quote the UFIFAS extension.
I would like it to be a requirement. I mean, that's just me. I want to make sure they're taken care of. I mean, there's a lot of people out there who's like, oh, I could be a chicken person. No, you're not. It's like the child who wants the puppy, and I'm going to take care of it, and I'm going to take care of it, and then who takes care of it? Mom and dad take care of it. You know, so that's my only thing. You know, I'm looking at 3 people in the back that could probably teach that class, and we would be amazing if they all did what those 3 did. Amazing. 4. Sorry, Miss Lindsay. You know, but it's these guys are, I think, a great example. But I think for the ones who are going to be that weekend warrior and put a chicken coop up, and I'm going to go buy little Tommy some chickens, and I'm going to teach him where breakfast comes from, those are the ones I have concerns of. So am I the only one that is not opposed to just giving away and letting little structures being built? You also have how far from the fence is it going to be, what property line, how close to the house. I mean, there's a lot of requirements here. You got fire safety, believe it or not, fertilizer. It's pretty flammable. So just my honest opinion.
Commissioner McCool, then Commissioner Jody Lee, then Commissioner Burbank.
$25 for a permit. We do not go in people's houses and ask to see their pet snakes to see if they're raising them right. We don't go ask to see if they're raising their dogs. We have neighbors. If someone violates, find the crap out of them. Fine. $25 is not punitive. It is contributing to offset the cost, but you pay for your tax dollars also to have code enforcement answer complaints and issues. So chickens, $25. The coops. I can see if you're trying to build the Taj Mahal of chicken coops and it runs over 100 square feet that you would need plans. But if somebody wants to keep chickens, I can't even believe we're having this conversation. If someone wants to do that and they show initiative, they're investing their money. They're not just throwing their money away. They're investing their money in their homestead. And that's what it is. Yes, we need oversight. That's why we're paying you $25 for a permit. Over 100 square feet, I can see where the concerns might be. If you have a problem with the construction of the chicken coop of the neighbor next to you, pick up the phone and call our nice code enforcement people or the nice assistant city manager or the city manager.
Or talk to
If there is an issue, then call and do that. If they violate, then they need to pay, but most everybody here wants to raise chickens with good intentions. Yeah, there's going to be rogue people, but there's rogue snake owners that are raising anacondas or python, whatever. There's rogue everything everywhere. And I would like to side on the side of trusting my residents if they're going to invest, that they use their investment wisely. It's private property rights at its most raw. And yes, we need to keep an eye on it, but if somebody's asking us to keep chickens, they've already thought about their investment. You know, the thing with maintaining food safety as far as keeping rodents away, I agree with that. But I would like to strike what we talked about. Thank you for that, right? Striking that and adding and keeping it at $25 for a permit. Listen, in Deltona, neighbors love to tell on neighbors. Trust them to do their job. Trust them to do their job if there's an issue. But for heaven's sake, you know, in this economic time, people want for their garden and to take care of their garden. Let them have the chickens. If it's over 100 square feet, go inspect it, draw plans, whatever. Because if somebody's investing over that amount, but, you know, requiring something like that to have engineer plans and us to look at, I mean, I have a problem with that. I'm okay with the ordinance at $25 and striking number 8.
Commissioner Jody Lee, Commissioner Burbank, and then I'll finish it up.
This is, again, we make things hard for ourselves for no reason. We're talking about chickens. Okay, you gotta have plans and everything else. I know you struck that out, and I'm glad with that, because if that's the case, anybody who puts a doghouse in their backyard with a little fence around so the dog don't go to the bathroom somewhere, you're gonna have to have hurricane straps over your doghouse? I mean, come on, we're getting stupid. And if the wind picks up the chicken house and puts it in my yard, I can guarantee them chickens ain't there. I'm just saying. If it can pick up a 100-pound house and throw it in my backyard, them chickens are probably gone. I'm just saying. I might not be really smart, but I can say they're gone. I mean, we make things so damn difficult. We're talking about chickens. I mean, we spend more time talking about chickens than half the stuff in the city. I mean, and we don't need to burden code enforcement with stuff like this. Hell, right down the street from my house, there's a car that's on jack stands that's been there for 2 years, and they can't see that. Never mind a chicken coop. I mean, there's people with campers in their front yard living in them. Code enforcement can't see that. They don't need to become looking at a chicken coop. I mean, we don't need to make it so difficult. You have your chicken, no roosters. Because I'm sorry, I got one in my neighborhood. I don't know who's got it, but I talk to it every morning. But we just make things difficult. It's a chicken coop. You're going to put some wire up. It's a bird. You get hungry. Guess what? You got dinner. I mean, you got eggs. I know Mr. Pesci is going to get mad about me talking about eating chicken. You probably eat plenty of eggs, but no chicken. Okay, $25 for a permit for chickens. Let's be done with this already. It's a chicken.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay, I'll shut up.
Commissioner Burbank.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think Commissioner Jody Lee just answered my question is, well, what are we going to do if we have to confiscate the chickens because they have an unsafe coop? Ta-da! I'm done. Thank you.
Commissioner McCool, and then we'll...
Thank you, Mr.
Vice
Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion. I move to approve ordinance number 8-2023, amending Chapter 14, Article 7, Chicken Sections 14-281 and 14-282 of the Code of Ordinances, while amending and striking number 8 and keeping the permitting fee at $25 and no requirement of a drawing unless it is over 100 square feet.
There's a motion by Commissioner Dana McCool.
Second.
There's a second by Jody Lee, and nobody messed that one up. Good job, team. Vice Mayor, and then we'll go for a vote.
So question, if a home is in the county area, what happens with the city ordinance that you're passing right now? Being that I'm looking, does the county still have an ordinance? Because I'm looking at a 2018-13 county ordinance on the chickens.
Doesn't apply, yes. It doesn't apply.
But we have city
Do we
manager.
have any homes in the unincorporated? So would they go into, I'm just trying to clarify, I'm asking, do they go into the
As
city or
long
do
as
they
they're
go
in
under
the
county?
city, the city's rules apply.
So even anything in like unincorporated,
But if they're in the city.
but so that's going to supersede this?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just making sure because I don't want a confusion on, oh, well, this person's county and this person's city, and the county has their own ordinance, which is 10 times worse than ours.
Well, it doesn't apply. If you live in the city, that does not apply.
Okay, I just want to make sure because everybody says, like, oh, no, that's unincorporated county, and I didn't want to have something thrown at them on that. Thank you.
All right, can we please, do you have anything else, Vice Mayor? No. Can we please vote?
Commissioner Villa-Vasquez.
Yes.
Commissioner Burbank. Commissioner Caldwell.
Yes.
Commissioner Jody Lee.
Yes.
Commissioner McCool.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bradford.
Can I please have the amended read back?
I'd be happy to read that.
The amended that she just read?
If I can remember all of it, but we didn't even read the ordinance that we have in the book.
I know.
So if we could
And
try,
so I want to
start
make
with
sure
that.
I want to make sure those changes are done.
Okay. Mayor, is it okay if I take a shot at it?
Absolutely. Just
Okay.
know that Dana set a high bar.
I know she did.
Let's make sure we don't
Okay,
mess this
I'll
up.
do my best. Ordinance number 08-2023, an ordinance of the City of Deltona, Florida, amending the Code of Ordinance, Subpart A, Chapter 14, Animals, Article A, Chickens, by revising Section 14-281, chicken permit, and I'll just add to for a maximum of $25, and Section 14-282, and I believe 8, Section 8 has been deleted. 14-281, chicken permit, number 8, the coop and enclosure is deleted except if the chicken home exceeds 100, was it 100 square foot? Okay, 100 square feet. Procedures for the granting of chicken permits, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Good job.
Okay, so number 8, we're taking it down from 120 square feet to 100.
Yes.
That's for a requirement of a permit, a requirement of drawings.
Drawings.
That's for drawings. That's for drawings.
So the way the ordinance used to be written, or the way the currently is written, it couldn't exceed, and any coop could not exceed 200 square feet. And then it said if it was above 100 square feet, it would require a building permit. From what I'm hearing from you all today, discussion on the 200 square feet max was not talked about, but it was mentioned about striking, but it would be up to the commission on whether they wanted to keep the 200 square foot max. But my understanding is that above 100 square feet, it would require a permit.
Yes.
Yes. We don't want to touch more.
What say you, Vice Mayor?
No.
Mayor Villa, please.
Yes.
6-1.
Okay.
We have chickens, people.
We're going to go ahead at this time and move to public hearing resolution number 2023-28, Community Development Block Grant Public Service, CDBG 2023-2027, Consolidated Plan and Annual Action Plan, allocations for program year 2023-2024. Suzette, and I believe there's also a correction that needed to be said? Okay. Yes, I have it right here. Your mic is off.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. Yes, we, myself and Angelia Briggs, the Community Development Manager, stand before you to present these folks before you in the awards per the HUD guidelines, which is about 15% of the CDBG grant allocations, and we're here to answer any questions you may have.
Is there any questions from the commission, or can I get a motion?
I do. Just one quick one here. Hey, the requested amounts were $71,500. What was our percentage? I know it's 65% infrastructure, but what was the total amount that we were, is this the 61,490.37 that we were able to award?
Yes, it's always, Angela Briggs, Community Development Manager. It's always 15% of the annual allocation.
Okay. I knew it would be, but I was hoping we had 10,000 laying around somewhere that we could give out, but thank you for that. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, at this time, I move to approve Resolution 2023-28, Community Development Block Grant 2023-2027 Consolidated Plan, the 2023-2024 Annual Action Plan, including public service allocations to Department of Housing and Urban Development. The city manager is hereby authorized to execute the federal forms and certifications required for submittal. Thanks, everybody, for your hard work on that. Mayor Avila Vasquez on affordable housing, thank you for always working hard on that also, and Ms. Angela.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Dana McCool and a second by Vice Mayor Bradford. Is there any public comments? City Clerk?
Mayor.
All right, can we please vote?
Commissioner Villa Vasquez? Commissioner Vasquez?
I know. I'm not happy with the way it was distributed. No.
Commissioner Burbank?
Yes.
Commissioner Caldwell?
Yes.
Commissioner Jody Lee? Oh. Commissioner McCool?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bradford?
Yes.
Mayor Villa?
Yes.
Okay, that's going to be...
And we'll wait for Commissioner Jody Lee to come back so we can finish the vote.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
What did the Council on Aging get last year?
I don't have the amount for last year. What
You
did
don't have
see?
last year's amount?
Liz?
I see.
Commissioner Jody Lee?
Yes.
Okay, that's going to be 6-1.
All right.
Yeah.
Somebody has a question? Oh,
Vice
sorry,
Mayor Villa
your mic is off.
Vasquez.
Commissioner Villa Vasquez?
Thank you, Mayor. Do we normally go over the request?
When you say go over the request,
So if I request $10, do you normally give me 20? If I'm understanding this correct, somebody made a request, but we gave them more than what they requested? Or am I looking at this wrong?
you're looking at, probably you're mentioning early learning. They requested 13, we gave them 14 to 38.
Right.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Generally, what happens is we have a committee. There includes staff. They take time out of their schedule and go through these applications. Actually, I have an application here that I have to give to someone. And they look at, per the guidelines, who they feel that they won't have any problems with if we have to pay funds back. Based on the guidelines and based on the application, they feel that there won't be an issue in the future with it, or that they have a history of working in these types of grants. So what they do is they look at it based on their presentation, the presentation from the applicants, and based on the application. And sometimes they do go over. We've had a history in the past, probably about 5 or 6 years ago, where we went over on some. We've changed them all around in some instances. So yes, they do sometimes go over, but I think that's roughly about $1,500 is the difference.
I mean, wouldn't it make more sense to give them what they requested and take the difference and give it to the people that we went down on their request?
I leave that up to the people that review the applications. We did have the commissioners doing that at one time too, I think once or twice.
Because we went down on everybody.
You mean from last year's allocation? You mean down from last year? They normally, we never normally pay what a applicant requests, because if you add it all up, it's more than what we're able to allocate. We normally pay less than what their ask is, because we can only give 15%. And in most cases, what they ask for is generally more than 15%. Yeah, they requested 112, and that's generally the case. Normally, they always request more. So the most, I wouldn't say expedient way, but the best way that we know to work these grants is to go by the guidelines of CDBG and looking at the application, understand what, if we get audited, to make sure that that applicant has done everything that is based on the guidelines that CDBG expects.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We're going to go to Vice Mayor Bradford, and then we're going to move on because we already voted on this.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I guess I should have asked these. What other funds do we have available for these different groups and organizations? And I believe I kind of understand probably where Commissioner Villalobos is going. Because Council on Aging, I mean, do they get any other funds from the city of Deltona?
Not from CDBG, but...
I'm not talking CDBG, I'm talking any other funds. I mean, yes, they get the center and, yeah. And I didn't rock this because, yes, we did vote and I was going to lose anyway. So at this point, we just have, I can point out 3 organizations on here that are very active in Deltona. Very active. Like these other ones, they do some, but I can say Hands of Hope, they will be out of funds with no time because of all the assistance they give for just the assistance with rent and utilities and that. Council on Aging, we haven't usually, I don't know, they're usually a little bit lower, I thought. We have Boys and Girls Club. I mean, we've got them located here in Deltona. The amount that they do for the children after school and before school, I see what you guys are doing because it does look like better than I've seen them in the past. But, I mean, I'd like to see our groups that are like here in Deltona. You know, we're giving the neighborhood center $14,950.47.
10,000.
$14,950.47.
No.
Am I looking at the wrong one?
I think neighborhood center, $14,950.47, yes. And
they're located in the land.
Okay, and maybe it might be better for me to kind of explain what each of these groups do that assist our residents. And I'll start with New Hope. They're fabulous. We know they are. They're here in our city. We can pick up the phone and call them when we need assistance with rental assistance and we need utilities. They're always there for us. Council on Aging, we support them. We support someone to work with the attendees at the center. We pay for salaries partially, just a minute part of salaries. When it comes to the neighborhood center, when we get that call, there's nothing we're going to be able to do. I am working with someone now out of Daytona Beach as a friend of a friend. They have been homeless for 3 weeks. I have nothing like Deltona's first response to homelessness to help them with that. Neighborhood center is the bed. Is the option for a bed and to triage our residents. That's the main reason why most of their money, and you can come look at when they request their reimbursement, they have a phone 24/7, 365. A hotel that they can put someone in. So the neighborhood center, that's why we consistently do that. They're the bed if we need it.
So did they get their 24-hour phone we had talked to them about before?
They do, because part of this money that we're giving you, they send us a reimbursement. Every one of these guys, they send us a reimbursement. Okay. It's all on reimbursement. And on there, I can see the phone. I can see what they're charged every month for the phone and what percentage they charge to us. In reference to Boys and Girls Club, it goes without saying. They've been in this neighborhood for years. They're there always. They support their city. Early learning, early child care. If you all would like, I would love to be able to show you one of their reimbursements, all of the child care facilities that they provide funding to. I wish I could give all of these guys 2 or 3 times as much as I give them, because I have no worries.
So do we have, aside from the CDBG funds, from any government program, any grants, anything we received, are we done with all the funds? Are they all gone? Because I know there for a while we were like, what can we do to get rid of these? So are all those funds gone at this point?
No CARES, but there's no program in CARES that we can use these funds for. We have hurricane housing relief program, but that's strictly for the hurricanes. We have nothing of a public service nature at this point.
In funding out, right? Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, we're gonna have to move on. So we're gonna go, is there any comments on consent items? City Clerk?
No, Mayor.
All right. So at this time, we're going to move to consent agenda. The consent agenda contains items that have been determined to be routine and non-controversial. So I am looking at this time for a motion or comments, and we have Commissioner McCool on the board.
Yeah, mine was, I mean, this is passed, we voted on it, but that's what I was trying to clarify what Angela was talking about. And I know, Vice Mayor, where your heart is and where you're headed with that. You know what I mean? I really, really do. And I will tell you that I know that we
Commissioner McCool, we have to move forward.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Well, there's no other place to talk about it, you know what I'm saying, other than here. We can't.
I get it.
We can't sunshine.
No?
Yeah, okay.
We need more money for our services.
Commissioner Jody Lee.
I want to make a motion for the approval of the consent agenda for A, B, C, D, E, F.
Second.
So there's a motion by Commissioner Jody Lee and a second by Commissioner Avila Vasquez.
The motion needs to include item G, which is an add-on item that you all got in front of you. Thank you.
I didn't see G.
I got it. Mine stops at F.
Oh.
You got it.
Right here. So he's not going to put G.
So we have do we need a second? Second. So we're pulling G.
We already had a second from Commissioner Avila Vasquez.
But we're pulling G, right?
Yes.
So then we just need.
G is not included.
All right, but she said we just need to do the public comment.
I asked if there was public comment, and I was told there wasn't.
Okay, then we vote. Sorry, I didn't hear you say that.
Commissioner Avila Vasquez?
Yes.
Commissioner Burbank?
Yes.
Commissioner Caldwell?
Yes.
Commissioner Jody Lee?
Yes.
Commissioner McCool? Vice Mayor Bradford?
Yes.
Mayor Avila?
Yes.
7-0.
Now we're going to, Commissioner Jody Lee, would you like to start off with the 10G? Your issues with it?
This is something that was new. I haven't looked at it all, and I'd just like to maybe put it to the next meeting. It's a new
Can we
deal.
get a motion to table it then?
Yeah, I want a motion to table it to the next meeting.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jody Lee to table 10G. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Commissioner Caldwell.
Commissioner Avila Vasquez?
Yes.
Commissioner Burbank?
Yes.
Commissioner Caldwell?
Yes.
Commissioner Jody Lee?
Yes.
Commissioner McCool?
Sure, yes.
Vice Mayor Bradford?
Yes.
Mayor Avila?
Yes.
7-0 to the table.
All right. This time we're going to move to City Commission special reports and requests. And I'll go down the line. Commissioner Tom Burbank? Commissioner Avila Vasquez?
Thank you.
Commissioner Dana McCool?
I'm so sorry. Could you repeat, Mr. Mayor? I apologize.
Do you have any city commission special reports and/or requests?
I do. I would like to, as we followed up from our city manager planning session, thank you very much, would like to investigate purchasing the property at the corner of Saxon Boulevard and Normandy, as we discussed. So I would like follow-up on that. And also follow up on our push-through for the CRA noted Deltona Boulevard improvements as it pertains to sewer. That's it.
Commissioner Stephen Caldwell. Commissioner Jody Lee.
I want a consent, we need to do an audit on this TNR program we have for the city. I myself have found some crooked dealings. I believe that some of the problems have been straightened out, but I think with all the money we put in this TNR program, we need to have an audit of the program.
We have a request for consent by Commissioner Jody Lee to do an audit of the TNR program. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Vice Mayor Bradford. Please vote on that.
Commissioner Villa-Vasquez?
Yes.
Commissioner Burbank?
Sure, yeah.
Commissioner Caldwell?
Yes.
Commissioner Jody Lee?
Yes.
Commissioner McCool?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bradford?
Yes.
Mayor Villa?
Yes.
7-0.
That's it I'll wait for comments.
Vice Mayor Bradford, any special reports or
Yes,
requests?
which I tried to bring up last week. So now I'm down to 1 week. I have Christmas in July. We did have consent last year, but since we have a whole new commission up here, I want to make sure I get consent again to, the city last year partnered with us on Christmas in July. All they did was allow the use of the center. It was totally paid for by several businesses as far as food, entertainment. Santa will be there. So I've also requested the Rotary, since I will be terming out next year, to start, they will be taking this over in hopes working with the city. So I'm trying to, before I'm termed out, start to work with local groups that will be taking over some of the things that I've been totally handling. So with that said, unfortunately being kind of out for the whole month of May kind of hurt me bringing this up, but we're down to, the center cannot advertise this without consent from the commission saying, yes, we will be
Yes, Vice
sponsor
Mayor.
of this.
Yes, Vice Mayor.
And then they can advertise it and cover the cost of the center. There's that. So, I don't know if you need.
So I can pretend I handed you the gavel, and I'll make a motion to, let's work on advertising and having that Christmas in July.
Thank you. And that is actually this Saturday now, because they couldn't do anything because we couldn't have a meeting. I couldn't get consensus without a meeting. So it is this Saturday at the center. I believe it is 9 to noon or 9 to 11. I'll have to get the confirmation. The flyer will be going out. 2018.
Hold on, can we get a second?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get consensus. I'm sorry.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jody Lee. And we can do a very simple vote. Could everybody that's in favor, please say aye?
Yes. Yes.
Anybody opposed?
Okay. Okay. I'm going to take us back in time to 2018. The center was freshly built. We had a huge yard in the back. We put in with the UF, I believe it was, to do what was called the Exploratorium at the center. Yes. We made it all the way through to budget, and at the second reading, it was cut. I already have plans from UF. The Exploratorium was going in that side lot. I don't know if we have any intentions for it right now, but I would love to see if we can get the Exploratorium at the center brought back up. Plans were done, plans were paid for. Everything is like ready to go. And I would just love to see if we can get this put on again as an agenda, maybe a workshop to go over.
Vice Mayor, and if I understand, UF wasn't very happy about.
They were very upset with us because we were go, 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 woo, here's your plans, we're ready to rock and roll, you got the property.
So-
We had groups donating time, resources, equipment, and then again, let's go back to that ball game, 9th inning.
All right, so unless I have somebody else is telling me that they're not for it, this is a good segue to bring this commission together, Mr. Chisholm. So I personally am not opposed to it, so if somebody wants to give a motion and then a second, we can do a simple vote really quick.
I would absolutely support that. It was a beautiful, beautiful project that a lot went into.
It was, I saw it, it was really nice.
Yes.
So we got a motion from
Motion, absolutely, to move forward.
Can I get a second?
And can I request that all the commissioners get a copy of that if they have not already?
Commissioner Jody Lee did it.
And just to go a little bit in it, this was not your, hey, I'm going to a regular park, there's no swings, there's no equipment. It was a learning experience for every age group, going from, and she talks about having a farmer's market. We even had an area in the front that would have been set up perfect for that. So it even covered seniors, military, children, natural habitat. I would love for anybody to see it that would want it. I do have a copy of it, but I don't know.
Let's get it done. So can we get a simple majority? Is anybody opposed? Say yay.
Nope.
Is everybody in favor?
Yes.
All right, so.
Excuse me, Mayor, I apologize.
I'll send out copies to everybody to make sure.
Give me a minute. Liz?
I didn't catch the second. Who did the second?
The second was done by Commissioner Jody Lee.
It was just to move forward with it.
Correct, to put it in a workshop, correct? Is that what you wanted, Vice Mayor?
I got confused. Move forward or have a workshop or move forward?
Move forward. We don't even need to
We
work.
already spent so much time, well, I wasn't up here, but it was already time spent.
Honestly, I was going to make a motion so that we get this where we need to be, because we need to be where we can do budget-wise, so that's the problem with it is, one, is there plans for that area already? I believe we do. I think we are going to have changes to it, because when we put it through, I believe the old city manager, Shane, took part of the area we were using for parking. So there will.
So let's put it back on a workshop.
So we need it back on a workshop to kind of go over and discuss that, because we also have to discuss budget. I'd love to say, hey, let's go for it, but there are changes, and we need to make sure that the location hasn't been earmarked for anything else development-wise.
Workshop.
Thank you. Yeah, so I want to say workshop,
You have
please.
consensus from the commission for
Thank
a
you.
workshop?
Yes.
Well, and that's right, you guys haven't seen it, so I think that workshops. You weren't here? Oh, I thought you were here. Okay. Yep, bring it to the board.
Anything else?
I know I've missed y'all for a month, but no, that's it.
Okay, so I only have two requests. I have one report, and this is something I did basically from residents asking me a bunch of questions and me trying to get them an answer. So I did a little update, which I left a couple of copies there, and then I'll make sure that Sandy gets a copy so she can give it to each commissioner. Or Joyce, I'm sorry, Joyce. Really what it is some information from Volusia County Sheriff on their traffic units, specifically traffic crashes, parking, other things like that. There's something here from the Deltona Fire Rescue, structure fires, brush fires, EMS transports, drug overdoses. I got information from the Volusia County on roads that they are milling and resurfacing within the city of Deltona, Enterprise Road, Lake Helen Osteen Road, Saxon Boulevard. And then I have the list that Mr. Chisholm had provided to us of all the roads in Phase 1 that the city is resurfacing. That's just some additional information that residents can have that I know a lot of residents have been asking me for. The other question I wanted to ask was, Commissioner Dana McCool, I went for the first time to a TPO meeting, and I believe she did a fantastic job, and I bring that up because if I can just make a recommendation, can you give us, I don't care if it's a monthly report, right, or something, hopefully starting today, right, on how it went. The reason I say that is because of Deltona's growth, we now qualify for something called the TMA, which allows us to get more federal funds. And, the comment was, well, don't worry, that can be redistributed amongst Flagler and Volusia, and of course, being from Deltona, I gave an outburst and said, oops, and she raised that flag and said, no, Deltona wants its money. So Dana, can you give us a quick little
Absolutely.
update? I don't want to take too much time on it, but
No, that's okay, and I would love to do that. When anything is germane to Deltona, I'll bring it back from the TPO. I will tell you this, that as your TPO board member, I continue to bring the message regarding Rhode Island and the importance it is that we move up on that project list. And what the mayor was talking about was the apportionment plans here for TPO. We now, because of our data, because of our census data, qualify for more money, and the TPO was quick to point out that meant that they qualified for more money, and I said I'd like our money to stay in Deltona very much, please. And so I will start doing that. The agenda and the minutes are always available. If you'd like a copy, let me know. I have a copy that I keep on hand, and I keep my notes on. There is a public comment and public participation before the meeting, but we are qualifying. This will be forthcoming on this also. The changes that are happening, we do not require a redesignation, but we will be qualifying for more funds. So I will keep you apprised of that and start bringing you a monthly report from the TPO. We do not have a meeting in July. We have one at the end of August, so I'll bring that back to you. If there's anything that the commission has concern about, I know that I do meet quite regularly with the city manager regarding what our goal and vision is to take back. And I will tell you this also, I've been working with Mayor Chazé from DeBerry and also Bill O'Connor, the vice mayor and TPO board member, regarding, and I hope that you noticed that we have been getting more of a cleanup at 111A and B. We've brought that up. They will also be studying in that area the pond that's in the middle, because I thought that it could be better looking entrance for our city, and I've asked them to explore some money or where we could get funds of the FDOT from to enhance our overpass as well. And Vice Mayor O'Connor is on board with that, and moving down to DeBerry also as Mayor Chazé. So those are being brought up consistently. They have changed subcontractors that take care of our area, so know that that is being brought up on a monthly basis also, just keeping that in check. So with that being said, also, I would like to speak to the public that I have been contacted for some weird reason this week, talking about there were commissioners that were unhappy with my performance on the TPO, and I think that that's just backroom gossip, and I polled my commission before, and I don't think that any member of my commission has a problem with my job on the TPO. So whoever's out there trying to cause, a fracture between me and my fellow commissioners, you're failing miserably at it, because my commissioners do a good job of letting me know when they're not happy with my performance. So does my city manager, city attorney, planning, and anyone else that might have a problem with me. So if you're out there, know that we are a united unit here, and that we don't listen to that gossip. And I would just like to put that rumor to bed, because no one seems to have a problem with my job on the TPO. So that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
thank you. We're going to move forward to city attorney comments. City manager comments? None? All right, we're going to go down the list for city commission comments before we adjourn. We'll start with Commissioner Burbank. Commissioner Avila Vasquez. Do you want me to skip you? Okay. Commissioner Dana McCool. Okay, we're going to skip her. She's spoken enough.
Yeah, the only thing...
I'm kidding. I'm joking. Go ahead.
The only thing that I would like to say is that I was asked and provided to a resident a copy of an agreement, and now there is a contract. It is out there for the public, for our city attorney. If you would like to request that, call into the city and request that, because there's been a lot of talk about that. So there is a city attorney contract, if you would like that, if we could put that to bed. And as far as that contract goes, just because my public has asked me about that. And I think, for the record also, that a farmer's market, I've been asking for one for 2 years, is a fantastic idea, and would like to help Lindsay bring that vision forward, because it's an amazing idea to bring our community together. That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner Avila Vasquez.
Thank you, Mayor. So I just want to give a shout out to our PIO and her staff. They did a wonderful job putting the town hall meeting together for last week. We had the Sheriff's Department narcotic team here, and we also had Karen and her staff from Recovery Alliance. We had scheduled it for 1 hour, and it went for 2.5 hours. And usually when I see the residents involved in a conversation the way these 20-plus people were, I just didn't interrupt it. But I just want to thank them and give them a shout out. I also want to let everybody know that we have another veterans office here in Deltona. It's at the library. I went to the ribbon cutting this morning. I was a little disappointed that we had such a short, little turnout, considering that we have so many veterans here, but I don't know how much it was publicized by the county. But it is at the Deltona Library, and it's in the Periwinkle Room. They're open Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So if you need information, you need help, you're a veteran, a wife, please know that now you have one in the library. And we finally got rid of the gas station on Saxon Boulevard by the entrance of 111, and she left already. But I want to give a shout out to Suzanne and her staff, Danny, for working on this. I know we've been on this for almost 2 years. And Suzanne and Danny had a lot of patience with the owner. And I just want to answer a question that everybody keeps asking me. What is the city building there? That is not city property. That property belongs to the business behind. But whatever they're building there, we're going to make sure that they're working with the city to make sure that everything, policies and procedures are followed correctly. So yes, the gas station is gone. Let's see what else I have here. We have a dance July 28th at the center, so please come out and support the city on that. And then we have our back to school supply on the, when is our back to school here? August 8th. And we know it's all at the center, so please come on out. You have to bring your child to receive supplies. Thank you, everyone, for, excuse me? Thank you, everyone, for coming out and bearing with us on all these changes that are going on. Thank you. Have a good day or good night.
Commissioner Stephen Caldwell. Commissioner Jody Lee. Every time he gives me that smile, I know it's something.
Well, Mr. Manager, thank you for putting out your report again. I love loving these reports. Ms. Phyllis, Mr. Glenn, thank you guys for all the stuff you've been doing around the city. I've been seeing all the different trucks all over the place working and fixing all kinds of stuff. You know, I think there's a small puddle that's in front of my house that needs to be drained. You know, it's starting to make me nervous. You know, it looks like it might be remnants of Ian. So no, thank you for all the work you guys have been doing. You guys are the lifeblood. I mean, the residents, but all the little behind the work jobs and things you guys are doing makes everything flow. And I just want to thank you, Mr. Joe, you know, the finance, for HR, for even you in the clerk's office. I see you already making faces at me. All y'all doing the jobs you're doing, I'm loving it. You know, all the stuff that's going on in the city, we got a lot of projects going on. And if people don't forget, August 26th, it's a Saturday, we're going to do that street festival. I can't say block party because we don't allow them, but it's a street festival on Deltona Boulevard, August 26th. So it's a Saturday from 4 at night, 4 in the afternoon till 10 at night. Was that? 60th anniversary. Yeah, 60th anniversary. But I'm just glad everything's starting to come together. Everything's flowing pretty good. A lot of work's getting done. You know, we're starting to get streets redone. There's a lot of projects getting done, and I'm happy. And I'm nice to see everybody's saying stuff about the budget that they didn't participate. I mean, for all the meetings that we've been in, we've seen the money that's where it's coming from, where it's going. We see money that's not being wasted. It's being spent more wisely, and I'm enjoying the changes that are coming. That's about all.
Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Vice Mayor Bradford? Thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah, I'd like to see, like, I don't see that flyer anywhere in here in our report, so maybe we can get that. They're doing it? Okay, great. All right. All right, so, God, I hate being the unpopular one, but I'm getting there. All right. Couple things, and I guess I should have brought on my other one. And I just want to verify this, Commissioner McCool, if you don't mind. We, City, Deltona, there was several areas on Helen Boulevard, Deltona Boulevard, our first exit. So several of our exits were looking, let's just say, really bad. So we had prior city managers, we just said, we're not fighting anymore with the county. We're just going to go mow it and take care of some of these areas that were bad. So my question is, are we still mowing some of these county areas that they're supposed to be mowing? And if we are, being that it's county and we're city, I also know there's a program where we should be getting funds back for taking over these areas. So I don't know if we've done that, but I'm like, why are we maintaining these roads and paying when the county we should be getting reimbursed for the areas that we're covering right now? That, I mean, we're already spread thin, but yet we're doing work that the county should be covering just to keep our city looking good. So if we have any of those areas, I'd like to see what we can do to get out to the county and get those funds reimbursed for us taking care of those. So I'm just throwing that out there. I'm going to cover something that I've received lots of requests for and comments and screamed at, and it's one of the top emails that we received from frustrated customers, residents, anybody. What it is I got code enforced because I put a shed in my backyard. I didn't know I needed a permit. I put a deck up. I didn't know I needed a permit. I put in a new door, and code enforcement, I've got to go get a permit. I can't put the door in because I bought it and it's not allowed. So I'm asking to see, and I believe you and I talked about this, Mr. Chisholm, but I put it on the record because I have had so many requests. So what happens is when somebody goes to Lowe's, Home Depot, Ace Hardware, and they buy that shed kit, code enforcement shows up and says you need a permit for that. They go down to get the necessary documents that are required to put in with that permit, only to be told, too bad, so sad, it's not Florida product approved. What's a Florida product approval? Florida product approval is what is required for windows, doors, many materials that are utilized. And if we don't have a Florida product approval, it can't get utilized, it can't be used. I've had individuals put in doors and come to find out that it was sold to them and there's no Florida product approval, so it's basically trash. So that homeowner's now spending double the money to go get a Florida product approved door, which means safety for you guys. Residents need to know you don't just go to Lowe's, Home Depot, Ace. These DIY projects are great, but it's costing them double when it just basically ends in the trash. So I'd like to see how aggressive we can get on a campaign to inform residents when this happens. I had a resident 2 years ago that spent thousands of dollars on a backyard that was drop dead resort gorgeous and ended up having to rip up the decks, rip up the sheds, take this down, take that down, because they weren't told they needed permits for it. So in an effort to save residents thousands of dollars of unwasted money that they can't do, I want to make sure that they're aware of these items that they need a permit for, they need Florida product approvals. Let's educate our residents so that it's not just code enforcement getting yelled at. With that, if we have any contractors, we have great new individuals in our building and planning departments. July 26th at the Center at Deltona from 3 to 4:30. The if you're a contractor or handyman, you want to go meet our new building officials, you can do that from 3 to 4:30. I believe this is also on the website. Okay, so it's important that we notify and we educate the residents. I can't tell you on a weekly basis in my other life job how many calls I get of, can you fix this? And I sadly have to tell them, no, the only way I can fix it is if we redo it and you spend all this money. So, I mean, we're worried about spending money on a chicken coop. These homeowners are spending thousands of dollars on products that they buy from a retail store that they can't use. So we need to educate them. Soapbox closed. Dana's looking at me. So that's it. Your turn, Mayor.
The only thing I have is I want to remind all of our residents about Transform 386 at the Deltona Regional Library, Thursday, July 20th, 2023, from 5 to 7 p.m. This is a county coming to our city. They got like over $300 million for a community development block grant for disaster recovery. We need our residents to show up. I mean, think about a commission meeting. We need like times 30 of those. We need it packed because from what I'm hearing from them, they've received very little turnout in some of their first, well, I think they only had one meeting, two meetings. So if we can outdo Ormond, DeLand, New Smyrna, and Daytona, the baby that cries the most gets fed, so we need to make sure Deltona's taken care of. Amen. So meeting's adjourned.